What is everybody? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. This episode is Idaho ISP interrogates Jennifer Drake. This is the audio with Idaho State Police Detective Van Leuven and Gary Tolleson. This is a special episode for Carson's mom, as well as for the entire state of Idaho, all of the taxpayers. The taxpayers, yes, I'm looking out for you guys. Here we go. Let me know on the volume.
It's Monday, March 16th, 2020 at 2:26 p.m. We're here in the Idaho State Police District 1 conference room. This is Detective Sergeant Van Leuven, and with me is Detective Tolleson. And if you could each introduce yourselves and state your full names.
Jennifer Drake. Cynthia Miller.
My name is Jonathan Drake. And Cynthia, what's your relationship to the family?
Mother to Jennifer Drake.
Okay. And Jonathan, what's your relationship with the brother? Okay. And also is Intel Analyst Ryan Momo. Okay, so we're here to have an initial interview to talk to you about your husband, who was the victim of a homicide on Thursday of last week in Bonner Ferry, Idaho. He was a chiropractor by trade.
Yes.
Could you talk to us about how long he's been a chiropractor?
He graduated from chiropractic school in 2012 and immediately went to practice in Austin, Texas. He graduated in Dallas, Georgia, College of Chiropractic, and then went and worked for somebody in Austin for just a couple years. And then he actually started his own business until, 2002. We moved into Idaho. So from 2002, we moved here.
So you said he worked in Austin for a couple of years?
For that whole time.
From 2000 to 2002?
2002 to 2012, we were in.
So 8 years.
Yes. 10 years.
Okay.
And then we moved here in June of 2012. And he immediately started working for Dr. Scott Crawford.
Okay, so the first thing I want to point out is that we saw Corey Richens go to prison. We've seen the Daybells. How many people have we seen go to prison that have been the wife or husband, right, of the person that was murdered? They always are prime suspect number one. That's just the way things go. But here, a group interview is taking place against protocol. A group interview. Jennifer Drake, her brother-in-law, and her mother.
Who is in Post Falls. And he has another partner, Scott. His other partner's name is also Scott. Yeah.
So does he still work with Scott Crawford, or is he out on his
No,
own?
we worked there for a couple of years. They had a disagreement.
You know what the disagreement was about?
It wasn't a, I think it kind of came a little bit to a head, but the final thing, I know that Scott had asked him to do a couple of things he did not agree with. One being to lie when it came to some insurance issues for patients. And Brian said he would not. And
If he had, what would the benefit have been? Would it collected more money from the insurance
Yes.
company? So they did.
yes, so yes.
So after this disagreement, they
had a couple different, they got along fine. And so there's a lot more of that story after this. But he ended up just, when he walked away, it was pretty much, they were congenial. But at this time is when he started seeing Lowell Graber and Ed Byler from Bonners Ferry. These were two patients, Lowell Graber, and they're two people you will want to talk to.
Okay, did you spell Graber?
Graber.
Okay.
And the other name?
Ed Byler, EBBYLER.
Okay.
And
They're from Bonners Ferry?
they're from Bonners Ferry.
EDD, two Ds.
Yeah, it's not.
BYLER.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
They had kept asking Brian to come up to Bonners Ferry to see people because a lot of Bonners Ferry people would have to come down to Scott Crawford's office.
They were patients.
They were patients. And so I know that Scott Crawford also had Bonners Ferry patients as well. But Ed Byler and Lowell Graber started with Brian Drake. And when we left Scott Crawford, he did end up for a very small time working for another chiropractor here. Goodness, I forgot her name. Again, it'll come to me. I'll have to look it up.
Take your time.
It's a family chiropractic. She works with, yeah, community set up just put chiropractors and in Coeur d'Alene.
While he's doing that, you mentioned that there were a couple of reasons why he left working with Scott Crawford. You mentioned one, the insurance company thing. What was the other one?
Well, it started getting to where it was kind of a disagreement that they noticed, like when he first came in, Brian felt like his other partner, Scott, the other Scott, they were both very kind, all Christians. They got along very well. But he did know that the other Scott, was not all that happy because now patients were going to have to be shared. So they made an agreement. We're not sharing our patients with you. People call in. You're not getting the patients. You'll have to get your own patients. And so I think that there was just an underlying, he's bringing in a third chiropractor, and that second chiropractor wanted to make sure he was not going to have to share patients. That makes sense?
Yes.
And then they are upper cervical chiropractors, which also is what Brian is, upper cervical. It's very hard to find specialized technique. And so that's why they did this all together. But he made very little. And again, those were little issues that's not what broke the camel's back. I think the biggest part was just, I can make more somewhere else, as well as they're doing some things that are just not ethical. And I'm not going to, I decided to leave. And so it wasn't like they didn't leave on really bad terms. Now, what did turn very bad, however, is if anybody were to ask me, anybody in the last 8 years that was mad at Brian, it would be Scott Crawford. He ended up leaving, I just had it, I can see it. He ended up, while he was at this other chiropractor's office. Yeah, attorney.
Spolstra.
That's it, Spolstra. He worked for Spolstra.
SPOELSTRA.
Oh my gosh, SPOELSTRA. Okay.
Again, very nice people.
And that's a group?
No, it's her.
Okay.
Her husband works with her, but he's not a chiropractor.
What's your first
Amy. So he was working for her. Again, didn't make too much money, but he kept having Ed Byler and Lowell Graber kept asking, "Will you please come up to Bonners Ferry?" At the time, I do know, and this is years ago, so you'll have to figure out the details, but I know at the time, behind the scenes, Scott Crawford was really trying to get the local Mennonite church to make him the local chiropractor. So up there in Bonners Ferry, they had a medical account, what you will, through the church, and that money would be paid to him if he was the local chiropractor. And so while Brian was with Spolstra, he had decided one day a week to go up and start seeing patients in Bonners Ferry. And when he ended up telling her I don't know if she found out or ended up telling, it was within a week or two. She lost it. She was very upset, said, this is so unethical, etc. And my friend's like, okay, there's no non-disclosure agreement. We have not signed, like, he broke nothing.
She was mad at him for
She
going up
was.
and working one day a week in Bonner's Ferry.
Yes, because those patients would come down to us, or they would come down here. So, like, same thing with Scott. He had a lot of honor.
If you can kind of tell the voice here, this is Van Leuven acting so confused, like he doesn't understand that. Wait, so she got mad about that? Yeah, those are her patients. Scott Crawford has patients. These people have developed, their practices. Brian was brought in to practice with them in their practice, and he was just basically like, here, you're an acting chiropractor, and the money that you would make off of that client, the lead is making X amount of dollars off of them too. So what Brian did is like, I'll just go to Bonner's Ferry, not tell anybody, and these people can just come and see me there, and I get to pocket all of the money. Yeah. But Van Leuven's so confused.
And she always got a kind of a blanket. And so those patients would come to her practice. And he did not tell her before he went up there. And of course, this was years ago.
Is there a relationship between her and Crawford?
No, but they were good. They were friends. They would talk. They went to the same marketing meetings, things like that.
Is this into Post Falls? Is that where Amy is at? Okay.
No, Scott Crawford's in Post Falls. Amy has moved, and she's in Coeur d'Alene. I can't think of where she moved to. You can look that up, but I know she moved. But she got along very well with Brian. She's the one who sought him out and said, will you please come work for me? And when we left and started up in Bonner's Ferry, Scott Crawford hit the roof. He actually sent out, because what started happening is his Bonner's Ferry patients stopped coming to see him, because now Brian is in Bonner's Ferry, and he started losing a lot of patients.
You also said that Amy was in it.
Amy was mad at him as well. But the one that actually acted on this, Amy, she was upset. I think partly because he did that, and then also.
So do you see within 10 minutes and 51 seconds of this first sit down with Idaho State Police, she has already laid out, when I say she, Jennifer Drake, has already laid out this motive of losing patients. Okay? Okay.
He ended up saying he was going to go ahead and start a whole chiropractic office up there. She at least was very kind when he left. When I came in to talk to her and say, there is nothing unethical here. You cannot smear his name. Give me one thing that's unethical. I just think it was wrong. He did it and didn't tell me, And I get that. I think it was more hurts than it was ethical. And they were kind. But Scott, however, ended up sending out a horrible letter to all the patients he knew in Bonner's Ferry, completely smearing Ryan. And we ended up, it was patients who came to Ryan and said, do you see what's being sent to all these people?
Up to what year this happened? All this stuff.
That was about 2014 to 2015. So it was October of 2014 that he moved up to Bonner's Ferry, if I remember right. It was either 2014 or 15, but I think it was stuff.
You don't happen to have a copy of this letter?
Why would she?
I wouldn't know unless it's in all Brian stuff. I even wonder if Lowell Graber, if I ever got it. I don't know. But he had several patients who would come to him and say, can you believe this was sent out? So we ended up, his wife, Scott Crawford.
What was the nature of the smearing in the letter?
This unethical doctor, and I'm trying to remember whether or not I'm almost positive Brian's name was on it. How he was unethical, coming up to take it was probably half a page or more than half a page. And it was just all about how can you see somebody who, has unethically taken patients from somebody else, that kind of thing.
Okay.
and I say that with the caveat that I could be, we had a discussion with him, and so trying to remember what the letter says compared to what he said to our face could be completely, that was 7 years ago, and I'm trying, or 6 years, trying to actually think through that. But
Now, want to give you guys straight from the discovery. The phone records will show that Scott Crawford, Brian, Jennifer, and his wife all had like a makeup session. So her talking about any of this is really kind of, you should just say to yourself, wow, why are you bringing this up? Especially because the phone records, the Cellbrite downloads of both of their phones prove that this was so in the past and that they were all like inviting each other to things and things like that. So for Jennifer to even be mentioning this, okay, yeah. Again, it's all in the discovery.
his wife, Scott Crawford, was a very close friend of mine. We worked on a lot of things together.
What is her name?
Her name is, Scott Crawford. But good, thank you. Sophia?
Van Leuven just cracks a joke and says, oh, her name's Cindy, like Cindy Crawford. That's what Van Leuven does.
Yes.
Cindy Crawford.
Oh, Cindy Crawford. Oh my goodness, that's funny.
No, you know who that is. That's Castaway Sellers.
Yes, that's Castaway Sellers. I hope that you know them because of something. They're the ones who ended
I
up
know them
getting,
because I supervised the alcohol beverage control.
and they ended up getting in trouble big time.
Which you shouldn't be talking about at all. Listen to this.
Yeah, they were conducting a racket because they were illegally importing wine into the state of Idaho. Distributing it. I'd like for a distributor.
Yeah. Are they still there?
Uh-huh. But they haven't.
They've got it getting
They didn't get in any trouble.
licensed.
Oh no, we're not through the process yet. So
Oh, you're kidding! It's still going.
Unbelievable.
So, Shelley Crawford. I'm sorry, my brain just was not thinking. Shelley. And so she and I had always said, no matter what happens with them, don't let that affect us. And so at some point close after he had started his practice up there, we actually got hold of Scott and Shelley. So can we sit down? Can we talk about this? And we down in Post Falls had breakfast. It's no longer there, but that Waffle House. And we sat down, and by the time we left, we actually, I think, got up almost in the middle and said, thank you, we're done.
So you agreed not to agree on what was going on?
Oh no, he flat out looked at him and said, those are my patients. You have taken my patients. And I remember looking and going, we get to decide where the patients go. He gives the best care or it's closer to their house. He's just used to being a big fish in a small town. And he looked right at us. And even his wife called me afterwards and said, I am so sorry. I told him he was so wrong, but he was so mad sitting across from Brian. Now, they have spoken once since then, and that was only because they happened to be walking into the same venue, and it was kind of like, hi. And I don't think they ever had a discussion since then, 6 years. He was so rude that day, and
This is how freely Jennifer Drake thinks that she can just lie to the police and that they're not going to do anything about it. Again, her own cell phone was downloaded, and same with Brian's. And this is just not true. Brian's cell phone proves that him and Scott Crawford had texted well after that. So for her to sit here and say to the police that they haven't spoken in 6 years at that point is a flat out lie. And she knows that it's a lie because Brian texted her, because I went through the entire Cellbrites of all of these people. Brian texted her right after he had talked and texted with Scott and made her aware of all, like, they were planning and they were inviting each other to like their birthday parties. So this is all lies. That all Van Leuven had to do was look at the discovery, look at the phone, look at the text messages between Brian and Scott Crawford, and then Jen and Shelley. It's all right there.
really blew both of our minds just when it comes to a professional and how much he completely was. And then what happened? He knew that Brian opened a Sandpoint office, and so Scott went and opened a Sandpoint office. It only lasted 6 months to a year, pulled out. But they started going up to Sandpoints, 2 days a week, knowing that he had already started one there.
Do you know whose idea that was?
I don't, and you know what?
Why didn't they start up the bar studio?
I was just gonna say, I'm trying to think if they actually did do bonds. I think they lost the agreement with the church. The church did not end up making him that chiropractor. And I say that as in, I don't know any of those details. I just know Brian coming home saying, because a lot of who Brian's patients are a lot of his church members. So that's another reason for why, and so he would actually see them on the road going back and forth. I saw them in the car as they're going to Sandpoint. But obviously, they did not get enough patients because the business did not stay long enough.
Is there some relationship between chiropractic and the Mennonite Church? Why is it unique to the Mennonite Church?
They're very holistic. I think it's even Bonner's Ferry. They just seem to be very holistic. Mennonite Church is such a huge congregation of that community. And I think a lot of it too was because he was trying to get in underneath the umbrella of that health plan that they have there. So where patients wouldn't necessarily, they have, and you'd have to look into this. Brian just said they had some type of health plan. This was years ago, so I don't even know if they still have it. But it allowed it to where patients were able to go, according to what they had given the church or whatever that plan is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it would be like, here's our designated chiropractor for the church, and the patient's paying him. It was just something for the church.
Okay. So was Brian that person?
No, we never connected with the church. It's just I know that a lot of his patients went to that church, but no, he never asked. He just went and opened his own business.
Okay.
So when did he open the business in Bonner?
So that was it was October of either 2014 or 2015.
Because he was in the same space.
He was like 2 buildings down in this little woodworking place. At the very beginning, first
North or south?
north. And it was just this tiny, tiny little office where this guy used to do woodworking. And it was just to start his patient base. This tiny little, and then he moved to the office he was at. But really close proximity right there.
And so in that building when did he move in there?
I'd say within 6 to 8 months after he started up there. And again, I don't know if that was 2014 or 2015. I'd be able to look back on my records with all of our business stuff, and I could tell you that. But
And that was Mr. Childress.
yes, Don Childress.
How's his relationship?
Very good. We have none. I send him a check every month on the dot. And other than Brian calling him once or twice to say, I'm not there because I just had back surgery, I'm out for 8 weeks. And I think he even left him a message. We really hardly ever talk to him because he sends us the bill of the utilities every 3 months. And I just made sure.
So what is rent?
Rent is $500 a month plus utilities on the 3rd month. So $700 to $800. Let's see.
How long has Kip Hartman been his neighbor?
Jennifer Drake just tries to tell the detectives that they're paying $700 to $800 a month. That is incorrect. Brian Drake was not paying $200 to $300 a month for water and bills. Okay, just want to put that out there. And she would write checks and give them to Brian. They were found in his wallet. That was for stuff in the Sandpoint location, and those checks hadn't even been turned in yet. And obviously, it was the 12th of the month. when this happened. So those checks were still in his wallet. So this whole we pay on time thing, yeah, that's definitely not the case for Sandpoint.
The whole time.
How's his relationship with Mr. Hood?
So he's never really seen him. He says that her mother-in-law is very grumpy. She's the one he always sees.
She works the
Yeah,
Yeah.
front desk. He very rarely sees Kip, even if like our hours or schedules are just different. I mean, me at the office, we really see patients like Bonner's Ferry. Those 2 days that he's there are almost always very packed.
That is so laughable. So laughable. He would leave 3-hour gaps in the middle of his day. Okay, from like 11 to 2, wouldn't do anything. And also he was canceling patients left and right, like just would just cancel. Like
which 2 days does he usually go back here?
He's always, unless there's like a holiday or something, it's Mondays and Thursdays.
So I'm looking at the book that was taken from his office. It's got titled Chiropractic Schedule. And I've turned to the page of the last day showing.
I have the entire book that Van Leuven has here. I have that entire, it was part of the discovery. I printed out the entire pages because they went ahead and like scanned everything in. And this is how I was able to figure out a couple different things that I'll tell you guys about. But I went ahead and printed everything out, put it in its own special binder, and I was able to do a POV, which is a pattern of life on Brian Drake for a 4-year period. I provided this information when I was getting my help from like different experts that I work with. When I had said that I had done this, they knew that I had done my due diligence and was like, wow, 4 years. You did 4 years. Yeah, I did 4 years worth of a pattern of life of Brian Drake. And that wasn't just with his schedule. That was with his phone, everything.
The names for the 12. So this book shows a Monday column, a Tuesday column, a Thursday column, and a Friday column.
Yeah.
So the Monday this would have been Bonner's Ferry, and then the Tuesday column would have been where? Sandpoint. Okay. Did he have a practice at all in Hayden or Coeur d'Alene still?
That's what he did on Wednesdays.
And where's the Wednesday?
I have a book in my home.
You take care of the
Yeah,
Wednesday
I do that.
scheduling.
Yeah, because all of his office is down there. And Wednesday, the Hayden stuff, we just keep all separate because he travels for all that. He keeps that. Make sure he keeps it in his car so he has it where he needs. But I have all the Wednesday stuff.
Okay, so these are a lot of handwritten records, and the sergeant's going to go through it. Is that normally his practice to keep handwritten records, not electronic records?
We did everything electronic for 10 years in Austin. Big office. And when we got up here, we just decided to keep it easy. We had no employees. We did it.
Are there any electronic files for individual clients?
Okay, so what I want to tell you about that is that Brian was a chiropractor who put his hands on people to work, and this would include young females, middle-aged females, older females. He would provide like massages and stuff like that, and so he thought it was appropriate and best practice to not have at any of his offices another person there, like a secretary or like a front desk lady, nothing. And he was alone with all of his patients. Like, that is not best practice. someone just said, is Jennifer Drake in prison? No, she was just awarded $15 million.
That's, that exists.
Yeah, everything that's electronic is all of their contact info in these phones. Everything else is on paper.
You can't get that. Can you show your screen then?
Yes.
So just this morning, we spent a little bit of time and we've gone through and we've basically put all of the clients that he had on Thursday the 12th in order in which he was seen. The ones that have that yellow highlights. So I've gone through and I found, what, you want to talk about this first? No. Okay, so these papers,
Yes.
his patient intake forms, these are basically all of them that we found. And from this stack, the only ones that are on that list are those 3 in yellow.
So that may be because they might be in the big file folder that's in my office. So usually he keeps them separate, but I do know I have an alphabet file and he has kept, he tried to wean through to where he doesn't, because this stuff is not the health info that he needs. But
This is all lies. And I'll talk to you guys about it in a second.
health info is on the other notes.
So
Yes, and so this stuff is like for legally if we needed to have. So I have another one at home that has A through Z, and it has a lot of B's in it. And so it may be because he just, sometimes he would try to whittle down once it maybe works. Or he would just, it's less stuff to carry.
But it's not this
No, it's not that one. It's
black case.
no, it's a smaller, it's a plastic, the one I have.
So we very much need that.
Okay.
So can I ask you, we'll jump around here a little bit, but since we'll just pump the brakes on that for a second. We'll come back to that.
So,
Yep.
just keeping track of the things we need to do for you. Right?
Yep.
For this investigation. You need the patient intake forms, the white patient intake forms from your home office.
These,
And specifically, we're looking for these names.
So that's probably why.
The names that they're specifically looking for is everybody that Dr. Drake saw that day. I went ahead and I have that whole entire list, and I'm able to prove that during the course of the investigation prior to the arrest of Daniel Moore, there were people that they didn't even interview that he had at his office that day. That's just one of the things. The other thing is that his phone on the day of his murder, his phone travels across the street to Les Schwab. This is proven through Brian Drake's Google. He had his Gmail on and sharing locations. And so he was able to be like literally almost like by the second GPS. And I'm able to move him around throughout the day with his device.
Almost everyone I see on there, those are many of the first and older ones. So they may be very well with all of my other stuff.
and you'll have to forgive me because I had a tough time reading the handwriting here. Maybe you could help.
Yeah.
Eldora.
That's Eldora Gatchel, who's right there at the very top.
Did we get the spelling?
No, so that's actually Eldora.
She's going to help you with the spelling.
Yeah, Eldora at the top, that's one word, and it's actually Gatchel. And she's the last one who saw him before he was shot. Yeah, okay, you knew that.
No. Now, you were.
Okay. Tell us about that, Jen. She was the last one that saw him before he was shot. Oh my God. Oh. Now, let me tell you guys something. I have a source. The 12th was a Thursday. 13th was a Friday. The 15th, you go 12, 13, 14, 15. This is on the 16th, okay? Eldora Gatchel. Well, let me back up. Jennifer Drake had people coming through to her house, friends and family, like a revolving door after Brian Drake was murdered. One, if not multiple people that were at Jennifer Drake's house, okay, between the 12th night and the Sunday, saw Eldora Gatchel come to that house and have a meeting with Jennifer Drake and should be subpoenaed to testify in a courtroom. They are beyond credible, and they came to moi. Yeah. So put that in your fucking pipe and smoke it. Ooh, I wonder who these people were.
Assuming that that's.
No, I know that to be a fact.
Okay, how is it that you know that?
Well, for one, I called him at like 6:30, 6:40, and he said, can I call you right back? I heard two voices in the background because I heard him talking. And so I said, oh, are you still patient? He said,
Okay, so this is Jen giving a story. Rewind it. Oh, hold on a second. Here's gonna pause. She's like, this is how I know. I called at 6:30 or 6:40, and I could hear people in the background. Two people. Two people.
I heard two voices in the background because I heard him talking. And so I said, oh, are you
So while Brian is working, she's saying that he stopped working and answered the phone. Okay?
still patient? He said, I run a little late, so I cannot call you right back. So,
Voices in the background. Were they male voices or female
I
voices?
couldn't remember, but I could tell you how I know who it was.
I couldn't remember. She says, I couldn't remember if they were male or female voices.
Eldora called me 2 days ago. She texted and said, please call me. I heard a rumor and surely it's not true. So when I called her back, of course, she was.
That's true. There is that text message. One should ask how Eldora Gatchel got that phone number. One should ask when Eldora Gatchel saved that in her phone book. And that should be said for Suge Tits Jen. Jen, when did you get that number? When did...
Mortified. She said, I was the last one to see him. And I said, what?
So that may very well have occurred that.
Hold on one second.
But I don't.
You have to
So I was mortified. Can I call you right back? I heard two voices in the background because I heard him talking.
Okay.
And so I said, oh, are you still patient? He said, I run a little late, so I cannot call you right back. So
voices in the background. Were they male voices or female
I
voices?
couldn't remember, but I could tell you how I know who it was because then Eldora called me 2 days ago. She texted and said, please call me. I heard a rumor and surely it's not true. So when I called her back, of course, she was mortified and she said, I was the last one to see him. And I said, what time were you there? And she said, I was there at like 6:40, 6:45. And she said, it was me and my husband.
She said it was me and my husband? What, excuse me? Wait, how would Eldora Gatchel know that she was the last one to see him alive? just tell on yourself without telling on yourself. If you're, 101 in criminal justice, the language that she's using here is just so fucking cringe.
Called me 2 days ago. She texted and said, please call me. I heard a rumor and surely it's not true. So when I called her back, of course, she was mortified and she said, I was the last one to see him. And I said, what time were you there? And she said, I was there at like 6:40, 6:45. And she said, it was me and my husband. And she said,
What's Eldora's husband's name?
I actually forget.
Okay.
I talked with her so many times. I've only talked to her husband once, so I don't remember that.
Okay. Now remember what Lana did? Lana did what? Lana went through every single text, SMS, social media, Facebook, Marco, Polo app. Lana went through 6 or 7 years of every single one of Jennifer Drake's phone calls, text messages, every app that was on her phone and the messaging abilities. Went through it all. How many times do you think she talked to good old Eldora Gatchel? Lay it on me. How many times do you think she called her or vice versa? Texted. Lay it on me. I welcome the Attorney General's office to take this on. I'm trying to help the taxpayers of Idaho. Why would you guys want to pay millions of dollars for this?
Anyway, she had said that she had just left him like 15. And I said, oh, he actually said, are you guys the ones that were in the background when I called? And she said, yes, you called. And he said, can I give you a call right back? Okay. So I know it was them. Now I brought that up to one of the, and they said that they had interviewed her. Okay.
We have people going right now today to interview her.
Oh, today.
Yes.
Somebody told me they'd already interviewed her.
Who told you that?
2 or 3 interviews. So
Who told you that, Jen? We'll get to all of these good little. Who told you that?
that may very well have heard that night, but I don't.
You have to understand there's the,
Different divisions.
there's the Bonners Ferry Police Department, the Boundary County Sheriff's Department, us, the FBI Violent Crimes Task Force.
So notice how she just said that Eldora had texted and called or whatever. Did she say that she came over? No, she didn't, did she?
We all have a hand in this. ISP is sort of leading this thing, but initially when this first happened, Bonners Ferry and Boundary County were out actively talking to people and making phone calls and trying to track down leads. So we're basically doing all of that ourselves to make sure it's. You have a lead in the investigation. Yeah, yeah.
So there might be another agency involved in the thing. We'll ask other agencies, the FBI, the DEA, because we're going to use their federal resources to do a lot of things. So, oh yeah, and we've used Kootenai County dogs. We had dogs up there. We had a lot of
They didn't have dogs up there. That's a lie. If they had dogs up there, please produce that in discovery, because the defense got nothing on dogs. Jennifer Drake got $1 million in life insurance money, and she got it within let's see, he was killed on March 12th, and she got it on April 1st, $1 million. Check cut to her on April 1st, and they had just started they're in the stage of gathering data. Okay. And they cut her $1 million life insurance policy check. She called life insurance 13 times. It's in her phone records. It's most importantly, she had other people calling. Okay. To try to hide the fact that she was calling. She had other people calling for her. But guess what the insurance company does? They keep track of every time that they communicate with somebody. Well, guess what I got my hands on? Every single date and timestamp of every single time that somebody called on that policy.
But Sergeant is the lead, and the Idaho State Police is the lead agency at this point. It's not going to go anywhere else. It's going to be with us probably 99% of the time.
Okay.
Um,
And I can tell you that is Leuven Braver.
She called one time like 2 or 3 times in that same day. She was calling the detectives to say, hey, can you call the life insurance people? Or when they call, like, you know, tell them whatever. What?
It's like greater.
Yes, it's GRADER. Paul Jacobson.
Ooh, who's that? Paul Jacobson interviewed with yours truly. Paul Jacobson's an amazing human being. And Eldora Gatchel tried to blame Paul Jacobson. We're going to get into all of these good little things, but
As your husband talked about politics.
Paul Jacobson was the patient. Paul Jacobson was the patient before Eldora Gatchel. Okay. So Paul Jacobson, when he is leaving from his appointment, he starts hearing a fucking ukulele playing. And so he's in with Dr. Drake, and then he comes out and he's like, there's 2 Hawaiian people, 1 male, 1 female. The male is playing a ukulele and the female is recording with a phone. Or looks like she's about to record with a phone. And he's like, it was really, really awkward, but to each their own, you know what I mean? He's like, I just didn't, I've never seen that happen. So I just left and there was more to our conversation. We're going to get into that.
So since we're talking about names and we're spelling names up here, I'm going to ask on the prices here. We have listed and we have noted here in some of his notes that $50, $250, $100.
So he charges $50 an adjustment, and then many times people will pay him for 5 adjustments.
Okay, that's not correct. He charges $50 per adjustment, but what he does is because he's so hard up for money, that if you pay ahead of time and you buy like a package, he'll be like, here, it's $250, right? And you get an extra one for free. Okay. So you could either pay $50 each time you come, or you could buy in packages of like the 5 and you're paying like the $250, like I said, and you're getting, so it's like you're getting 6 visits for the price of 5. Okay. So what Jen just says here is not obviously accurate, right?
I'll go ahead and say 5 adjustments. I'll see.
And he'll put it on his records, and then that's
See how she didn't say that you get that one for free?
$50 an adjustment, and then many times people will pay him for 5 adjustments.
So they'll go ahead and say, here's 5
They'll say,
adjustments. I'll
yes,
see.
and he'll put it on his records, and then that they don't have to pay every time.
They don't have to pay every time. Who would ever prepay and not get a deal? Jennifer. Nobody. That is not his practice. Okay. It was all over, and it's on the paperwork that he does. And it was $250 and you got a free visit.
He has it on, not in here. He always keeps track of who owes him,
Is it in the black book?
but it should be in.
Now, the other way that these are the 2 ways they accepted payment. You either paid cash, or you could run your card, because he had like the Square thing that was set up. So immediately I went and sought out how much money had come in from the card ringer that day and how much cash was there that day. And what everybody should be alarmed about is the fact that Dr. Drake didn't have like petty cash where you would have like, 20s or 10s or 5s to be able to give somebody change if they're coming in to pay and they're just paying as they come. Okay, it's $50. Well, I could see a lot of people just having 20s, right? And so here, 20, 40, 60, give me $10 back, right? Well, when I noticed that the money that was on Dr. Drake was all $100 bills, little Lana here has a little bit of an issue with that. There was no money for change. Okay. Also, what I had an issue with was how many appointments he had that day based on he would circle if it was a prepay and he already accepted that money, at a prior date. And then if it was something that he needed to actually get from the person, he didn't have it circled, or vice versa. It's been a couple years now since I went through all of this shit. Well, when you add up the cash with the cards that were rang through, it's impossible. That they don't equal what it should equal for the patients that were saw that day. And that's me taking out the patients that had already paid for a different, for a package on a different day. One would just have asked these people these questions, but I was able to do it from the financials. Then what I was also able to do is see when you do this, because I had to do this with my bar, just because I ring the card through on that day, I don't get the money that day. It all gets batched out. So I had to call this company to actually, ascertain, hey, how was your batch outs? When would you actually get it? Would you get it within 24 hours? So I had to do all this to make sure. And what it came back with is that somebody 1,000% batched $300 worth of well after the fact of Dr. Drake being dead. So there's that. And then what I was really focusing in on was, how did Eldora Gatchel pay? She hadn't seen him in a while. And we'll get into that.
Even asked me, he's like, oh, I gotcha. He didn't see any little travel cards. You would keep track of on these, not anything on these. Nothing on it.
I was hoping you'd help us.
Now I'm trying to think, because I haven't been doing it now for quite a while.
So here's one,
Yeah, so you've been doing it?
one or two.
Yeah, pay 250, 250.
So that's how you keep track.
And he knows his system,
Got
and
it.
he knows whether or not they're paying or not.
What is this?
Those
Fly pouch.
I've asked them to always keep receipts. I'm a receipt Nazi. And so those are deposits for years.
Or receipt Nazi.
Didn't want him to throw them away.
So we also noted that there's cash,
Yes, he
And
does
then-
cash and he does credit cards.
and he has a phone specifically set up to do credit cards.
Yeah, he has a personal phone and he has a business phone. This was,
How far does the credit card reader go back, you know?
I don't know, but everything goes through Pay Anywhere, so I could surely get files from them. I would,
Yep, Pay Anywhere. And so little Lana just did what she does. Pay Anywhere. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's for, it's called Pay Anywhere. Yeah.
It's like Square.
Yes, we're gonna probably need to look at that portion of it, unless we find a name that we're really, really interested in.
They suck.
Focus on that. But let's go back to here. So, you don't think it's unusual that he has blank spaces in here, and some are 250 and some are 100?
Not at all, because the blank spaces just means he had room for a patient. Sometimes he also gives patients, like he has some little elderly women, he just knows it's going to take longer than 15 minutes. So he'll just keep it blank. That's why he likes doing his own schedule, because he knew how long it would take people. Some people just take longer than others. And then he many times would have prepays. And that's why you'll see they all make sense with the $50. The
Right,
$50.
but some of these people are paying forward, is that what you're telling me?
Paying forward. They're all paying, not all of them. There are sometimes people just couldn't pay. And so you just saw them anyway. And maybe pay enough money to make up for it, or sometimes they just couldn't.
Do you know how many patients we might be looking at here that he had in monitoring?
So as a detective, you don't think to ask, so wait, we have all just like $100 bills and maybe like a 50 or 250s, like everything's $100 bills and it all equals like $650, okay? You think that everybody that came in there that day, How is it possible that everybody came in with $100 bill or a $50 bill? How would that remotely be possible? And that Brian just happened to then run out of all of his money that he made change with. Come on, man. This is nuts, right? It's just like, so nobody brought in a $20 bill, a 10 or a 5, or even some singles, but everybody just came with hundreds or 50s. Okay, sounds like a plan. Yep, sign me up.
I know he knows hundreds of people. I don't know how many are current. You know, he's seen hundreds over the years. I don't know how many, like, he hasn't seen in 2 years. I know that my husband has a higher retention rate of patients. There are many patients who have seen him the entire 7 years. In the past, we had people who saw him for 10 years straight, many of them. Just, but I don't know, like, current. I don't know even know. I don't know. It's, you know.
So, and I know that you're answering that, but I'm going to ask it this way. Are we looking at 25? Are we looking at 50? Are we looking at 100?
So the average for him was to see anywhere from 20 to 25 patients a day.
Okay.
Depending on where the
That is absolutely insanity. That is not factual. 20 to 25 patients a day.
that was the right.
Dead.
And
Sorry, excuse me.
sometimes patients would see him 2 times a week. Sometimes they would see him once a month. So when you throw that into the equation, it's hard to know how many he actually has. Because I don't know how often they're seeing him.
How is it scheduled? Do they call him directly?
They text him. Or call him.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
the bathroom is directly across the hallway. I'm going to stop the tape. Tape stop for break. By my watch, it is 14:57 hours. Stop tape.
Okay. So hold on now. I'm going to. This is just comical. Let me bring up this next one for us. They're going to say, like, we're back on the record. Sorry for that outburst. It was just really hard to maintain a totally straight fucking face. What? Oh, yeah, 25. Absolutely.
Okay, this is the last recording timed out, so this is a new recording. We're back on the record, same group of people. March 16th, 2020. It's now 3:24 p.m.
Wait a second. What?
Regarding
How long was that break? 3:24 p.m. That was over like at 2:40 something. A 45-minute break.
the number of clients, we kind of touched on that a little bit, and you said he had between 20 and 25 clients a day, and they would see him as often as once a week, or
Sometimes twice a week, if they were especially newer, they have problems.
okay.
And
But most of them at least once a month.
yeah, well, sometimes
It's-
they would listen. I don't know with Bomber's Ferry. There's some people would come back after 3 months. Sometimes they'd only see him when they had an injury. Sometimes they only, it depended on whether they were a wellness patient or whether they just continued to see him as whenever they had a patient.
So we're probably talking a total of somewhere like 100 active patients, where really it was more like 50 that were like regulars. Is that fair?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. 15, 75.
Would he take a walk in if he had a gap of an hour or a half hour?
Yes.
He would take-
Just gap it up. Okay, so in my investigation, what I was able to ascertain is that Brian was not only a chiropractor in that area, but people came to him for just straight massages. These Mennonite women were getting rubbed the fuck out. Okay. Lana, how do you know this? Because of the text messages. when his leg was bashed in 3 weeks before he was murdered, somebody took a baseball bat and taught him a lesson or tried to teach him a lesson. I'm sure that was Dr. Moore too, right? Bashed in his leg. They like literally shattered the fuck out of his ankle. He had to have surgery, and it was a compound fracture twist. Yeah, it was not a slip and fall. There was like a baseball bat that was taken to him. Anyways, and before that, he had back surgery, so he was out for like 8 weeks, 9 weeks, however many weeks it was. And people had, texted him and were asking like, well, where can I go get my massages? That's the language that was used, not like what chiropractor should I go to? Where can I get my massages? Excuse me? Yeah. So it's in the documents. So he was not just a chiropractor. He also like literally gave women massages. And men.
Take a walk in.
If somebody would, I don't know that he hardly ever had anybody just walk in, because almost everybody he saw was referral based. And so they at least text him and say, okay, come on in.
What types of services did he provide? You mentioned upper cervical earlier, and that was sort of a specialty. Could you explain what that is to us?
Upper cervical is an adjustment of the atlas rather than just the spine. Usually,
What does that mean?
so the atlas is your very top part of your spine. It's kind of like instead of you have your spinal column, all the vertebrae. Your atlas is at the very top of it. It sets on your skull. And upper cervical has the mindset that if your atlas is aligned, then the rest of your body will align itself. Even though he did upper cervical, he actually was trained in 7 different techniques. It was drastic. There was lots of them. So
How about penal entry? There was a couple women that went to him. Previously, they had seen doctors in different states where these doctors would enter their penis into their vaginas. And so was he into that practice for an adjustment?
he actually treated the whole body. So the same technique, unless somebody had specific problems, and like sometimes I remember even a patient that got hurt, couldn't really lay down, so he knows how to adjust and sitting up, things like that. But it is just an X-ray. Usually upper cervical has to do with X-rays, which is why he did a lot with the other 2 spots, is because they have a very good system X-rays, and they analyze the X-rays down to a very, very minute, and they nail it down to the smallest exact adjustments that a lot of upper cervicals can't do. You have to really go through training.
Where are the X-rays?
So he did not do X-rays when he was in Bonners Ferry. So even though he knew how to do the upper cervical adjustments, he did most of those down here, or if people had X-rays, he would analyze them. Like sometimes they go to the hospital or they go to get X-rays other places and analyze their X-rays. He probably has tons of X-rays in his.
He has none. She is so full of shit. He did not do X-rays. Okay, he just did not. He did not have the equipment. People did not bring his. He had 0 X-rays. There are 0 X-rays in the discovery.
So is there one treatment more than another that you generally would have been providing to these patients in Bonners Ferry?
For sure.
Okay, what would that have been?
It would have just been a full body, and it's called. This is called. So, did you find one of his business cards that has all 3 of them on the back? I think. Personality. It's
I'm looking this off.
Just.
That works.
You know, I think just,
That's, if you could just describe what it is he's doing.
Yeah.
For them.
sure.
What?
So he would either start, he would lay them either on the front or on the back. And he would just start either with their neck and they're on their back. He would adjust their neck. He would also adjust, if they have problems on their arms, but mostly he would always check the leg lengths, see if they're having hip problems. And then after he did all that, he would flip them over and he would go ahead and go down the spine. He would do the hips, same thing. If they had any leg problems, he would then check the leg lengths. So he just started at the top and would move down, or he'd start at the bottom and move up.
So it's a full body adjustment, if you will, or
Yes.
that term is used?
That's not really a term, but I guess you're asking what that does. It's just called an adjustment for subluxations. Yeah.
So is there anything, do people that come to him ever get upset with him for any reason?
I don't know I don't know anybody that was upset. I would even ask them on a regular basis because I'm much better administratively at being, and there would be times I'd be like, somebody would text him and he's like, oh, yeah, I got to get back to him, and that would be a day later for him. So I would always ask him, is everybody okay? Nobody's upset. I'm always worried somebody's going to be upset because he didn't reply. But I wouldn't ask for a certain reason. I would just always, everybody's okay. And he has never.
As far as him, a person not getting the result that they wanted, or thinking they paid for a service they didn't really get, or becoming injured, or thinking they're getting worse because of a treatment or something like that.
Never had that. The only time I've ever had a person who was upset at him in Montessori was, I don't know if he went to the Mennonite church. I don't know what it is. And I remember him showing me the text. Was because his kids, he paid for him and his kids, or maybe he couldn't pay for them all. I don't remember what the situation. I don't remember him telling me, but I know it was a man and his kids. And Brian went ahead to, for payment. And he had texted him later that day, and the text, he was very mad because he was like, as a Christian man, and
She has lost her fucking mind with the story. Okay, guys. Yes, there were people that were mad at him. Yes, they had to move from Texas because he was fucking his patients. Okay, that just totally fucking blew her mind, though. Let's talk about this, though. Sorry, this is just woo.
$50 per person. Our treasures are laid up in heaven. Why in the world do you need more money? It was really, we got inappropriate. So I remember the discussion very clearly because I went to Brian and I said, you need to rise above. And he doesn't know that you paid hundreds of thousands in school loans and this and that and the other. And I was like, what's interesting is, I'm sorry that bothers you. Please feel free to see another chiropractor. And he stopped. He didn't see him anymore. And I remember sitting there with him, helping him form that reply. And the guy never replied. And he came back about 6 months later because he went to the other chiropractors who could not help him. And then he continued to seek their and he actually apologized. He did say, Brian told me he apologized. I don't know. I was thinking about it last night. The only two people I could think of are Scott Crawford and this one man.
Girl, you loud as fuck. Oh my God, Jen. Well, thank God Jill Bolton, which we're going to get into. Thank God Jill Bolton went to town on that deposition, though. We got all of it in that depo, though, didn't we, Jen? Which we're going to do a special preview tonight with Jennifer Drake's depositions. Absolutely wild.
Paul Jacobs.
I could not possibly. I just remember when he told me it was a no-name face to me, because I don't know. But he was upset because he just thought Brian was charging too much.
But he came, so he left and came back.
He did. I do remember him telling me that he came back and apologized and continued here because he believed it.
Did Brian discuss with you? Did Brian discuss with you his clients and problems they were having, or things they would talk to him about, or just things he found interesting or something like that?
If it was something weird or odd, like, he would tell me if, especially if it was somebody I knew, that'd be like, they just found out they had cancer, but he would never tell me any health issues. Not because they all seem to be the same.
If a client would have been angry with him for something and he would have, had an unpleasant conversation, would you expect he to talk to you about that experience or no?
I expect that he would totally tell me about the experience if he had the cognizance to remember to.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I say that is because we have many seasons. We have 4 children. There's so many, especially with being gone almost 4 days a week. There were times that there would be a conversation that would come up and I'd say, oh my goodness, this happened so why didn't you tell me? It's like, oh, totally. Like, there was so much that he did as part of me that if he told me everything there.
You guys, what she means by seasons is we just had so many seasons. It's like, excuse me? What are you talking about? Yeah. Me and Brian have just been through so many seasons. You mean like situations? You mean like different chapters in your life? Like seasons? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That comes out really good in the deposition, doesn't it, Jen?
I sometimes passive and I didn't even tell her anything about my kids that I wanted to. So I don't ever think in my gut, like anytime I would ask a question or I would find out about something, he would always answer completely fully. I did never feel like he was ever not telling me something.
You called him and you overheard him.
How does her mother and the brother-in-law sit in this group listening to this, and her mother knows that this is not true and that Brian has been a cheating bastard in the past? He had to have his phone on lockdown to the point that he was not allowed to have the internet. She refused to let him have the internet. You guys, how is this woman? Hello, Idaho. I get that you guys suck just so fucking bad. And that's why I know that the death of Brian Drake, the motive could never really truly come out because it's going to implicate a bunch of other people. But this is asinine. This is crazy talk.
Voices that you later identified.
Listen to this shit.
On Thursday, you called him.
Was answering the kids that I wanted to. So I don't ever think in my gut, like anytime I would ask a question or I would find out about something, he would always answer completely fully. I did never feel like he was ever not telling me something.
You guys, I went through the phone extractions and guess what I found that none of these guys found? Or if they did, they buried it. Brian had an app on his phone. It was called the Hidden Eye app. And what it did is if you tried to use his phone and type in the password to get into his phone and you didn't know it, it took a picture of you from the front side. And then the camera also took a picture from the back, and it would take several pictures. And then each time that you tried to put in the password that you thought that it would record what you put in as the password. Guess what this woman did the night before his murder? She was trying to break into his phone between 5 and 7 p.m. the night before his murder and kept on entering the wrong password. And guess what Lana found? The fucking pictures of her in the opposite side showed their carpet of the floor and their carpet in the living room. And I was able to prove that because she was Airbnb-ing their house, okay, for money. She does not tell the people about this, the cops about this. And I went through all of this discovery to find in the extraction that people weren't looking at because you'd have to ask the incompetent Idaho State Police what the fuck they were doing. This woman was trying to break into his phone and punching in the wrong codes the night before his fucking murder. And she's over here saying Brian was just always answering me everything truthfully and blah, blah, blah. Well, it gets worse because she tells the police that Brian didn't have a password on his phone.
Thursday, you called him and you overheard the voices that you later identified as Eldora and her husband. What time was that phone call?
I'll tell you exactly. I think it was 6:40, but
I don't mean to interrupt you. While you're looking at it, these names that are written in on these 15-minute increments,
Yeah.
is that accurate? If you see a line at 5 p.m., would you expect this person came in at 5 p.m.? Okay.
I mean, there's once in a while it would be late just because somebody would be late. It would make a day late. But
No, he was hungover.
like this day like this, his biggest thing would be to stay on time, because if he's not, then everything goes to his thing would be to stay on time, because if he's not, he's got lots of people waiting. So he was always very adamant trying to stay on. Now, you do need to know, I know this sounds so trite, you can ask his patients. It was like Brian was a counselor as well. He had people that tell him everything. He let him cry on him. It was, his policy was to always leave the door open. The shades were always drawn for privacy for them. It was in the way that he had his table. It was to where the door was open. You couldn't see the adjustments. Does that make sense? And I know it's the way we always wear it in Austin, even when occasionally I would ask here and stuff like that, just for that whole make sure that the patients were coming in to above board.
Above
I don't know
board.
where this will be.
No, that's any information is good. It helps us understand a more complete picture of who your husband was and how he operated. So don't feel bad about sharing
Yeah,
things that you think are unimportant.
Did you ever get complaints?
About what?
I'm using that with a younger female, mother may complain, father may complain. And there, a lot of times men will come with their wives for doctor visits. Nothing like that.
Lies.
So on the ISP, I don't know if you guys have seen
Lies.
what you posted, and so many of the patients have commented on anything. And
They interviewed multiple people. One of my favorite interviews is with Nancy Johnson, and Brian texted her and said, "Will you come and rub my balls?" in text messages. Evan Bennett. Hi, Evan. Evan Bennett, why don't you and your wife tell the world the truth and tell the world how you would not want your 16, 17, 18-year-old daughters. They did not want to go to him anymore because he made horrible statements. I shouldn't say, when I say horrible statements, he made statements that would be like horrible for a parent to hear if you're like fawning over their child's ass, their assets. So yeah, there's all that.
it's just,
We don't think like some of the voluntary PD.
yeah, there's monitoring PD, and it was all of them are his patients saying nothing but amazing things about it. There was nobody on there. There was one person who said, do this to a crippled guy. Somebody else was like, do this, period, But there was one weird, it was pretty weird reply on that.
Do you see how she deflected though? The question was about, did anybody ever have like a complaint? And she totally she deflected away from answering that. It's because her husband had lots of complaints and that's why they left Texas. He, one of the people that he worked with, also a coworker in Idaho, he had said something like, she had her hair in like pigtails or something. And he was like, those are handlebars. And what he could do to that ass. Yeah, she's so full of shit. And all of this is in the discovery. So these investigators interview this woman, and then all of this stuff comes out. Like, this woman has just lied to you repeatedly, lied to you. And I've just never seen where detectives are just like, the wife of the husband that was murdered, it's okay. He was cheating on her. Oh, it's okay. What? Somebody took pictures of their child in the bathtub, their girl, a week maybe before he was murdered. What? Maybe it was 3 weeks. what's in the phones of Jennifer Drake and Brian Drake of their own child being posed in a bathtub is absolutely fucking disgusting. And that's in and on their devices, and it's in the discovery, and it's fucking sick. Fuck that. I'm finally speaking out against it. It's disgusting.
How did he injure himself?
He was at his Sandpoint office, and then we had the big ice. He walked out of the Sandpoint office and slipped and fell. And he turned his ankle and snapped it in 3 places. This will have surgery and all. Yeah.
I just sketched a very brief, very rudimentary, not accurate to scale at all sketch of his office, and I'm showing it to Jennifer. Is this generally the way that he leaves his office? This is the leather-covered stool. His desk is really too close to this wall to really work behind it, and then this exam table was sort of at an angle. Is that normal?
Yes, except that sometimes he would have it to where it was like a little bit more this way, and I could kind of make sure that we just needed more this.
You're describing it being more parallel with the desk
Yes.
rather than at an angle the way it is.
Right.
So let me just make sure that I have this right. So was it Dr. Moore that took Brian's phone or your phone and started taking pictures of your daughter in a bathtub in your master bedroom?
So like to where the door would be here and it would be like this.
I try not to.
And this was just a small bookcase, and there was some books, and then there was some sort of a chiropractic tool that was plugged into the wall. And then he had another device in his pocket. It was like a little T handle. Yeah. Do those two things going to do the same thing?
2 different places of the body, but yes. One's for the atlas, one's for 2 different places of the body, but yes.
Chairs, and I don't remember whether this table was round or square, but the table was one. Those are all normal. We all know that one.
So since we're doing the office thing, so he has the waiting room. There's a little hallway next to that, and there's a door that goes into another, I say hallway.
Yes.
Call it vestibule.
Vestibula.
That's where the bathroom is. So that was all leased. That's all rented, that space.
Right.
On the other side of that hallway is an old, unused dentist's office. He had none of that.
No.
He didn't control any of that.
He was there while the dentist was there. I think the dentist just left, I don't know, a year or so. But no, he didn't use anything except for his office and waiting room. And he would go to the bathroom or patients would go to the bathroom.
So the patients had access to that.
And he would, lock both of those doors before he left, but he had them open when the patients were there.
So
Guess what? On the night of the murder, the front door of that building, the front door, it was unlocked. So when they say that, like, that was something that was not normal, that blue front door, not the side one, but the front one, when they go to clear the place, when they get to the scene, and they go up and get to that door was unlocked. Remember I told you during the day, Brian, what seems to me is that he walks across the street and he goes across the street. Yeah. The person that he saw during the day, her husband worked at Les Schwab. Don't know what was going on. All I can tell you is that the time frame that he walked over there is very interesting. He had a gap in his day, the day he was murdered. And it lines up perfectly, the phone moving when he has this gap, and he goes across the way to Les Schwab. But guess what also is over there? It's it's where Isaac Funderburg's apartment is. These cops blow, or they're corrupt, or both.
So what time was the phone call the first phone call where you heard the voices about that?
So March 12th. It's called, right? Okay, so the first time. The first time was was 6:42 exactly.
6:42.
And we talked
She called Brian. 13 seconds.
6:42, we talked for 13 seconds.
Ooh, look at that. I know this case like the back of my titties.
Yeah, we talked because we just, and that's when we always, I mean, it's always fast if we have a patient, because I would just say, are you still a patient? He says, yes. I'm sorry, my little late, can I call you back? Yes.
Got it.
Literally. And that's how I could hardly hear, but I heard talking behind, so I knew that there was somebody there, and somebody would have been talking if Brian, if he wasn't, you know, I mean, if somebody else was there with them. So in my brain, I knew two people were there.
So at 6:42,
Yeah.
that was when you later confirmed that that was Eldora.
Yes.
What's her last name?
Eldora Gatchel.
Gatchel and her husband,
Yes.
which you don't recall his name at this point. Okay.
And how did you confirm that again? Just Eldora told you? Oh my God. I was the last one to see him alive. Oh, were you? How do you know that? Oh, it gets so good, guys. Saddle the fuck up, man. I love Jen Drake days.
And then he called you back. Or what was the
Called me
next?
Yeah.
And what time did he call you back?
He called me back at 7:17.
Okay. And now this is the most important part, because this is what investigators try to say is, oh my God, like he's still alive. His phone calls Jen. So at 7:17 p.m., Brian Drake's phone calls Jen Drake's phone. And they have a 9-minute and 26-second, I think, call. We'll let her tell us the exact
We talked for a total of 9 minutes and 15 seconds.
15 seconds. There we go.
7:17. And this was 9 minutes. How many seconds?
Oops.
9 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
And I would say it was probably, we talked for 9 minutes. We were starting. I would say it was probably, we talked in the last 15 seconds, because even after we fell on the phone, it didn't go dead. I didn't hear a thump. I didn't hear, like, it literally, even when I think back to the fact that I'm thinking, how did I not hear gunshots? I just heard him yell. He yelled twice. He,
So Jen's version of events here is that I was on the phone with my husband when he was shot and killed. And it's like, holy shit, what an alibi. Woo! I'm like, damn, Lana, what you gonna do, girl? How you gonna figure this shit out? I was like, okay, I got this. Because Jen reached out to the public and wanted my help to solve her husband's case. Okay. Well, I realized real quick we had a real big problem. First of all, what it would seem like is that Brian is the only person that could have made that phone call. Oh, but contraire. That was until Eldora Gatchel got caught lying. Okay. Also, what it would seem like, this is without any investigative. Detective Van Leuven does no investigation. He accepts. This is what he accepts. He accepts that Brian Drake was shot and killed at 7:26. So you take 7:26, add 9 minutes. Okay. And what you realize is that she doesn't even say it right, because guess what? It was like at 7:17. Did she say that? It was at 7:17. If she tried to say 7:26, you guys, that phone call started at 7:17. So did she just try to say 7:26? That phone call started at 7:17. Facts. It ended at 7:26. So let's rewind here. So again, the phone call starts at 7:17 and it lasted for 9 minutes and 15 seconds. And so therefore, Van Leuven just says, okay, Brian was shot at 7:26. And it's like, wait, what? Okay. And he just says that Jen was in Hayden.
Yes. And that's how I could hardly hear, but I heard talking behind. Tolleson knew that there was somebody there and somebody wouldn't have been talking if Brian, if he wasn't, you know, what I mean, if somebody else wasn't there with them.
And-
So in my brain, I knew two people were there.
So at 6:42,
Yeah.
that was when you later confirmed that that was Eldora.
Yes.
What's her last name?
Eldora Gatchel.
Gatchel and her husband,
Yes.
which you don't recall his name at this point. Okay. And then he called you back, or
He
what
called
was
me
the
back.
next?
Yep.
And what time did he call you back?
He called me back at 7:17.
Okay.
And we talked for a total of 9 minutes and 15 seconds.
7:17, and this was 9 minutes, and how many seconds?
Oops.
9 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yes.
How Brian's family accepts this, they're a bunch of pussy ass bitches.
And I would say it was probably we talked for 9 minutes. We were starting to.
I'll tell you what, his parents, shame on them. Shame on them.
And then down and be able to open it in the last 15 seconds because even after we fell on the phone, it didn't go dead. I didn't hear a thump. I didn't hear, like, it literally, even when I think back to the fact that I'm thinking, how did I not hear gunshots? I didn't yell.
She tells you, she's like, I didn't hear a gunshot. Let me go ahead and call you up right now. And let me go ahead and take a gun and have somebody stand like 10 feet away from me and shoot it off into the sky. Let me know if you heard a gunshot. Okay? Okay. She's like, I didn't hear a gunshot. I didn't hear anything.
Yelled twice. We were kind of winding down. All of a sudden, it was like this phone was like this, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, what? And he said, I think, then he said, something just hit me. And he said it twice, something just hit me. And I go, what do you mean? And that's when all of a sudden I could hear it, even in his voice, because it was kind of this, something just hit me. And for some reason, I'm thinking like, something fell off the ceiling or something. I'm thinking, what do you mean something just hit you? And he said, ceiling or something. I'm thinking, lean through the window. And so that must have been when he turned around. And I immediately, my next brain, it just immediately went to where did it hit you? And that's when he said, I think it's in my side. And then the phone went dead. And he said, Brian, started yelling, trying to get him to pick up. And I didn't hear a shot. I didn't hear him fall. I didn't hear the phone fall. I just literally went like black. It just went black. And so my brain was, I didn't want to hang up just in case he picked up. But then I was so afraid that since he wasn't picking up, I better call 911. So I have to stop connection with him in order to get somebody else on the phone.
What time did you call 911?
It was 3 seconds.
So right there, she was expecting a different question. So she should listen to that answer again.
What time did you call 911?
It was 3 seconds.
It was 3 seconds. She was expecting a different question. It's really important to understand. It was 3 seconds. Wait, what? Like, oh, you asked me what time I called my, like, you get what I'm saying? It was 3 seconds. What? What was that? What? She nuts. She's nutso.
In order to get somebody else on the phone.
What time did you call 911?
It was 3 seconds. It was
Ready for this? Oh, snappy pappy. This is when I lost it. I said, excuse me? This is 2 veteran detectives. They're fucking old as shit. They just hear this woman say, oh, my 911 call, it doesn't show on here. Wait, what do you mean it doesn't show on there? What do you mean you dial out 911 and you can't see it on your call log? What are you talking about? What does Lana immediately do? I FOIA every single 911 call made on that day to the Coeur d'Alene Dispatch. Kootenai County Dispatch. Do you want to know what it came back with? Not a single motherfucking phone call was made on that day from a Jennifer Drake, from her cell phone number, from any fucking buddy calling for any fucking reason about Jennifer Drake's situation that just happened here. Excuse me, Lana? Wait, what? Yeah. So I had to explain this to a very competent attorney named Jill Bolton. And I said, you do know that there was no 911 call made, right? Here you go. I did the FOIA. Here you go. Go ahead, FOIA it. What does Jill Bolton do? She FOIAs it. What does she get back? The same thing. I said, you're welcome. I said, so now what are you going to do about this shit? I said, there was no 911 call. Do you understand that? There was no 911 call made from that cell phone. There was no 911 call, period. Let's listen to what Jen has to say. So she tells them, she has her cell phone right there. She's like, oh, my 911, what time was it at? It's not here. They would know immediately that phone call was either deleted out of the call log. Okay, number one. Or that phone was not used to make the 911 call. Like, those are the only two possibilities. Or, I mean, she didn't call 911, but here you go. 642. 717.
And then 7:32, and I called you, and you called Papa. And the Bonners Ferry dispatch calls it.
Huh. Listen to this then. Okay. Then she says, she starts looking through her phone and she's like, well, Brenner called me. Then it has here, it shows that I then called Papa. That's like what she calls her dad. And then, and mind you, I get the whole cell rights. So I know exactly what's on these fucking devices. Okay. And then she's like, and then the Boundary County dispatch people call me.
And then 7:32, and I called you, and I called Papa. And the Bonners Ferry dispatch calls it. Not another house line.
Did you call on a house line? She says, I don't have a house line. I did everything from this phone.
On this, I did everything on this. There's no 911 call on here.
And Bonner's Ferry called through that.
I think it's Bonners Ferry, the 208, it was at 7:44.
744. No, that was the sheriff's, that was the Boundary County Sheriff's Office calling. Okay. It's so good.
I called, or no, maybe I called them. Nope, they called me at 7:44, and all I could get from them was that their dispatch medics are there. And I kept saying, is he alive? Was he hit? The medics are there, and they have people looking for a suspect. I said, so they are there, like he's alive. All I know is medics are there. They wouldn't tell me anything. And then the next time I talked to them, they called me asking for his cell number.
Got it, baby. They called you asking for his cell number. Is that right, Jen? Ooh, baby. What was that about? Tell me more, mama. I love you, girl. Mm-hmm.
What they say.
Just said the sheriff just needs, so she wouldn't tell me if he was alive or dead, and I knew in my heart, you can't get it from him. It means that you can't speak, but they wouldn't tell me why. They just said they just need your cell number. I thought it was so odd. Medics are there, and the sheriff needs his cell number.
Guess what? At 7:44, they hadn't even found Brian yet. Chef's kiss, baby. Is that right, Jen? 7:44. They're calling you to tell you that medics are with him. So funny. They hadn't even found your motherfucking husband yet. Oops. And then what was that? Oh, then they call you for the cell phone number. Oh, so that's 7:44. That was that cell phone number call. Like, what's his cell phone number? That's what that was about. What happened a little bit before that, though?
Yeah, 6:42, then it happened at 7:32, and I tried calling him back again, and I let it go for like 3 seconds, and after 3 seconds, it just kept going straight to voicemail, so maybe it's not getting on.
You just hear, you just hear that? I was calling and it was going straight to voicemail, right? Guess what she says on the 911 call? She said that she did that shit. She said that she did that stuff before the 911 call. All of that stuff is after the 911 call. She is fucking something else. But these guys are a bunch of dipshits, or like I said, you're either incompetent or you're both corrupt and incompetent. All right. I mean, but this is like, you would take this to your boss and be like, how do you want me to handle this? But she's lying. Like it's just so fucking obvious. Okay. What happened? Isaac Funderburg fuck it all up because he called 911? Is that what happened? That wasn't supposed to happen yet? Why this is so important is because when I go ahead and get all these FOIAs, and I personally talked and recorded the person I talked to in Bonner County. There's Boundary, which is Bounders Ferry, and there's Bonner County, which is Sandpoint. She was transferred, they said, like 3 times, and this is their excuse that why Isaac's phone call came in before hers, is because she had to get transferred, from Kootenai County. I was like, bitch, you never called Kootenai County. I was like, keep lying, I love it. Then I talked to the dispatch, Tiffany, in Bonner County, and she tells me that wasn't a transfer call. That was on our so it showed up on the trace locate, and it was pinging where Jennifer Drake was at the time of that phone call was in motherfucking Sandpoint. Ooh, daddy, sounds so juicy. What do you mean, Lana? Yeah. That's what the fucking I have on a recorded line. So much so that wait till you hear all this. I mean, it's wild.
Ryan, do you want to grab a consent form for her to sign? Yeah. I'll go real quick.
So right here, she signs a consent form to have her phone downloaded, and Cellbrite downloaded everything. Ooh, daddy. That's what we got, though, right, Jen? You got a copy of that, too, didn't you? Thank you so much for asking the police for it, because then you gave me the opportunity to get it. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Let's, so problem clients, you're not aware of any problem clients.
Some that just longer than others, but that's something I knew about.
They don't ask her any more questions about that situation of, you didn't hear him say a person's name. He doesn't they ask her no questions about how she says that it went down, about her husband getting shot through a fucking window. Just like they asked no questions about the Sigma Chi people, and the kid at Sigma Chi talking about, yeah, I think that people were capable of doing this in the Greek life. What? Van Leuven. Fuck yeah, Officer of the Year, bitch. Woo! Trooper of the Year, motherfucker. Woo! Good Friday, baby. The Lord is gonna rise. She says, I would think combing through his texts would tell you a lot. Detective Jen, baby. I love it. She's crazy.
All of the devices, the 3 phones,
3. You guys, guess what? There was actually 4 phones. He just says to her the 3 phones. She just said earlier he has a work phone, okay, and he has a personal phone. Van Leuven just says the 3 phones. She should be like, what 3 phones are you talking about? She doesn't even bat a fucking eye. If my fucking significant other, husband, wife, who the fuck ever. You tell me that you took 3 phones off of them, I would be like, excuse me? What are you talking about, 3 phones? Not Jen. Not Jen. And guess what? There was actually 4 because they took a bag and they didn't go through it. And Lana found a 4th phone that the people that actually have that 4th phone was the border patrol people. Lana, how do you figure all this shit? Because I fucking dig.
It's in Coeur d'Alene, but not in this building.
And right there, Van Leuven lied. The FBI didn't download his phones. Idaho State Police did. And guess what? Van Leuven's stupid ass, when he transported Brian Drake's phone, he was supposed to put it in airplane mode or in a Faraday bag. What does this piece of shit do? He doesn't do anything. In Brian Drake's phone, because guess what? Life 360 Brian had as well. The Life 360 app is literally, I get into that, do the extraction, pull all of that shit, print it all out. And I'm like, here's Brian's phone, just going down the highway. Okay. And then guess what fucking Jennifer's doing? She's on Life 360, screenshotting it all. So she's making artifacts of this in her own phone. Okay. Then she tells the officers that she never checked Life 360. Listen to this shit. She just lies.
Yeah, I just around noon they were taken down to the FBI office.
Just a little low. I'd like to revisit something that has happened in my mind a couple of times. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory, something in my memory about Scott. But did Scott ever get you up? But
Now Jennifer Drake's mother wants to speak up and say, I want to go back to the stuff about Scott Crawford.
I just remember something about being threatened by Scott. Was it?
Scott Crawford.
I just remember pushing back to go here and see that I never really so professionally with the expertise Brian. And I do recall when you were going through that with Scott, that I remember thinking, this is unbelievable that this man is so control. Yeah, so I just kept running that through my mind these last few days. Well, I hate to say that it was true and have it not be true. It would not surprise me one bit.
When's the last communication that you're aware of that Brian had with Scott?
Years. We actually saw him at the airport.
That's so nuts.
If I ever see him, I always just wait and smile as if nothing's wrong. But we saw him at the airport about 2 years ago, and as soon as he saw Brian, he turned and he disappeared. It was so funny. Brian and I were headed out. No, it was a year ago. Exactly a year ago. We were heading to California, and he was walking his daughter, and he saw me out of the corner of his eye, and as we turned, we had to turn a corner, and he was saying goodbye to her, and so sorry, I don't know what the timing is or the. Oh, that's all you need.
Her name is.
Oh,
Were you able to put the phone? I know that she kind of needs the phone here.
It'll take 20 minutes.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and is there a pattern?
Yeah.
A code pattern to it? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
Brian's didn't have one.
Brian's brother. Like, this is your brother's murder, man. Brian's brother is like, well, she needs her phone. Like, yeah, okay. And Van Leuven's like, this is going to take 20 minutes because, like, they're just downloading it. They did not keep her phone. They downloaded it, okay, and they did not keep her phone. They gave it back to her.
None of us either did it.
We haven't touched it.
Oh, wait, did you hear that? Wait. Here you go. She asks a question here. It's good. I can't believe Brian's family. It's just so disappointing. Your brother was their entire marriage there was problems. Okay.
Brian's didn't have one on his either, did it?
I haven't touched it. Is there a pattern?
Yeah.
He says, is there a pattern like to her phone? Is there like a passcode? And she says, no. Then she says, Jen says,
Brian's didn't have one on his either, did it?
I haven't touched it.
Oh.
Brian's didn't have one on it either, did it? Asking if his phone had a password on it. Jen, the night before the murder, you guys, she knows that his phone she tries to break into his phone like 4 or 5 times and she can't. Unbelievable. Oh, Brian's didn't have a password on it, did it? It shouldn't have.
Okay, so since what's that? So I'm going to tell you this, and then normally I wouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not trying to get your point. I wouldn't, but you may find this out anyway.
Oh my God! Listen to what Van Leuven does here. Totally against protocol here.
This Eldora person, she called into the sheriff's office and said, "Hey, you guys need to know that when I was coming in, there was a large, angry, agitated guy coming out." And so the client before her is this Paul Jacobson. I don't know that Paul Jacobson was the large, angry, agitated guy, but I need to get his date of birth so we can figure out who he is, so I can get a photograph of the investigators that are interviewing her today to confirm whether or not that's true, whether or not he was angry and agitated.
Yeah.
So
I wish
if you could,
everything he has is in those files and on his phone.
Unbelievable.
His phone? He'll get all these photos.
so it's odd to me that he didn't mention that a large agitated guy was in his office earlier
Right.
to you. Yeah, I want to talk to you.
Oh, well, that's probably because I was going off about our children. So it was, I mean, all good things, but it was because all these things have been canceled due to coronavirus. So we almost always talk right when he gets done with patients and then before we go to bed.
Okay.
And so at that moment, usually it's like, how was your day? Here's what happens with kids. We don't make it very long because he's got to clean up. He wants to eat dinner. He wants to sometimes go work out. And then we talk before we go to bed because the kids are already in bed. Then we're able to actually talk. But it was only 9 minutes. We wound down because I was going, this has been canceled, this has been canceled. Now they can't go to this, and I was going off on this stupid coronavirus. And so the fact that he didn't tell me that did not surprise me. It's not like we just would go straight into patient things.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just asking Jennifer, I told her about Eldora talking about the large, angry, agitated guy and the importance of us getting the patient information sheet for this Paul Jacobson so we can ID who he is.
See, Eldora Getchell lied her fucking ass off about Paul Jacobson, and it infuriated me.
That is the person that
That's the person that was on his list before Eldora.
No, I did.
And sorry,
Homicide.
we need to get ID on him so we can get the photo up to Leslie or one of them that are up there so they can,
Leslie Lamo,
whoever's going to interview her today.
I just got off the phone with Rich.
Rich Alderson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, another fucking. He's a pastor. He sucks. All these people suck.
Rich Stevens. Rich.
Rich Al.
Okay, I'm going to put this on pause.
Yeah, let me fill you in on that. Okay, so then here we go to part 3 of the day. And this is ridiculous. So I can't wait for Jeff Nye, the science guy over there. the AG's office is like, yeah, let's totally take on this case. Yeah, man, this is totally what we should be doing with our time and all of our money that we don't have. Okay, so then next up here is, like I said, part 3. Okay. It's okay, John. People are a big fan of yours over here. Some of us here, they're huge fans still. Okay, here we go.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, don't buy it.
Okay, we're back on the record at 3:58 p.m. on March 16th, 2020.
Mhm.
So we were talking. I do want to talk about the 2 individuals that you advised us to talk about earlier. Those were Lowell, Graber, and Byler.
They are 2 of the people in Monastery that we remember from the best.
They don't.
Why is that? Just long-term loyal clients.
So I know Lowell Draper has seen my husband every other week for 7 years. Depends on the clockwork. And we helped his whole family. He's very close with him. Lowell Draper, everything. We've been to his house, met his family, and the dinner. They would talk about anything and everything. And Ed Byler is another one.
She is so full of shit.
Asking me to come up to Monastery.
So just close friends of his.
Yes.
They were not close friends. Ridiculous.
They're not in business.
No. They're just patrons.
Are they both Mennonite church members?
I know, so yes. I don't know if they go to the same church. I'm not sure. I think they're both Mennonites, but
And you say your husband also treated family members of those two.
Let's talk about the swinging lifestyle.
So you were. So let me ask you, going back to the client list for that day, specifically this Paul Jacobson person. Do you have any idea who that is? Have you seen the name before?
yes. This name's a lot. I think it's been on there.
These are a couple of Paul Jacobsons that are in the driver's license database. One from Hayden and one from Naples. Either one of these guys look familiar to you?
Yeah. He saw a lot of patients that I've never seen.
And for the record, I showed her a Paul Allen Jacobson, date of birth 4/27/7. And how old are they and what are their names?
Brenner, New York, he is 16. Hudson is, I think so.
Nothing in the past.
No.
Said that if there is stopping, this is correct. But if you turn up some bit of disparaging information, she definitely believes in she has to know the documents. You don't need to hold back with her.
So let's talk the truth a little bit. When I did a search warrant on this car, it had half a gallon of vodka in it.
She saw it. It's like, how did you see it? And how wasn't that taken into evidence, right? So Van Leuven, or this is Tolleson, Gary Tolson's like, okay, so let's talk about the truth. There was a half a bottle of vodka in your husband's vehicle. And it's like, oh, he slept at his office in Bonners Ferry. Okay. So he was just driving around there with an open container, which isn't really smart, right?
He started drinking last year, and
Now, the reason that she saw it is because she was adamant of getting up to that office. She goes there not the day after the murder, but the day after that. And she's like, can we get into his office? Can we get into his office? I want to take. She goes in there and just starts taking pictures of stuff, the blood on the floor. And then she's like, I'm going to take his vehicle out of here. What? Yeah, they did not process his vehicle. If they process his vehicle, let me just put it to you this way. The defense has not a single piece of evidence of his vehicle ever being processed to include pictures.
I did a search warrant on his car and half a gallon of vodka.
He started drinking last year when he, right before back surgery. He ended up, so he was about 2 years, started having a lot of back pain that he couldn't get fixed because it was congenital. It got worse and worse, so he started drinking. And then it got up to where he had an accident last summer and ended up having spinal surgery, but had to wait weeks. And he started with an internal bleed because of ibuprofen and because he started drinking. Well, I don't know about excessively, but I think it was excessively. Like, he wasn't drinking.
Drinking is dead in the pain.
Yeah, totally steady things. Surgery was stopped, of course, because he was on medication.
What was the nature of the accident?
We were out, what do you paddleboards?
Oh, was that it?
He fell off, and he got back on and realized that he was in a lot of pain, but he didn't. He ended up paddling back in, and that was that weekend, and the week he was going to work at the same office, pharmacy, and he was done seeing patients, and he went to turn a corner in that hallway, and he hit the floor, and he was on the floor for like 2 hours and couldn't move. He couldn't get to his phone. The ambulance had to come get him. Had to take him to Father's, hospital. They took him to Sampling Hospital. They took him. It was he couldn't get surgery for several weeks. So I know that he was drinking at that time. And then, of course, after
Jen, you know that's not the story, girl. You want to go ahead and push this though for a little bit? I'll let you pedal it for a little bit.
he had the surgery, which was in August, he was on pain meds, and he was out of work and on his back literally for 8 weeks. And so, of course, he was not drinking. He was, I with him 24/7, so I know he wasn't drinking.
August 2019.
Yeah. And probably within the last, it was when we broke his leg. I noticed he started drinking more home. We never had hard liquor in the house. And so I was surprised to see the vodka in the back of his car. At the standpoint office, he was coming out of the office and slipped on the ice. That happened on
3 weeks before he was murdered.
so he's gonna have to wear his food for 6 weeks, and we probably have 2 weeks left. So I would say a month ago. I can get you an exact date, but I'm not sure what the benefits. So I did see the vodka, and that surprised me.
They don't ask when she saw it, these idiots. When did you see the...
Could he have been using that as because we noticed, I talked to you before about how it was in the bottles of water on his desk.
Yeah.
Oh, when did you talk to her about that before? When are you going to talk about that? You guys, this is a lie. They never tested the bottles of water that were in his office. They didn't take any of them into evidence. What was Van Leuven doing? Just opening up the bottles of water that were on the desk and just swigging them? He is so full of shit. The thing that Van Leuven doesn't announce to her is that we've already interviewed your sister. You know, Emily, who just literally took the tea bottle and just was like, wham! Put all your shit out there, girl. Put all your shit out there. But yeah, this is just nutso. Okay.
You've been using that as since because he couldn't get a hold of hand sanitizer.
This is what Van Leuven asks her. Was Brian just filling up his bottles of water like this with vodka and using it as hand sanitizer? Excuse me? What? He's being serious, you guys.
And we know this, we talked to you before about how it was in the bottles of water.
Yeah.
Could he have been using that as since because he couldn't get a hold of hand sanitizer?
But I literally,
Because right now, you know, you're saying you can use vodka.
Yeah.
I can't
I
imagine.
know I shouldn't say that.
Oh my God.
I know he was in a lot of pain during the test,
Was
but-
he inebriated at home? Did he get drunk at home?
Was he inebriated?
You guys go out to dinner? Did he drink?
Sometimes not. If he does, it's like one, maybe two.
Hard liquor or wine or beer?
It could be either a glass of wine or it would be sometimes a beer. Usually it was a Long Island iced tea. We got something that's usually what it was, but I never, when he was with Scott Crawford, I did see him get drunk once. That's the only time in 20 years. Yeah, they went to the party. And that's the thing, though.
Oh my God. So I go through their photos, and here's Jen. Literally, they just go on vacation not too long before this. That summer of 2019. And they just get on that plane, and what's the first thing that they do? They just order themselves those alcoholic beverages, and they're drinking together. Okay. Then Brian is getting hammered on this trip. Like, this is wild. She's drinking with him. Everybody's drinking. They're getting in the hot tub with people and praying together and doing all this whack ass shit. To sit here and say the things that she's saying with the straight holy roller face is just, dude, I cannot help but laugh at this shit. I've never seen Brian drunk.
I remember I was adamant that he didn't drink anything.
Her sister was like, oh my God, they fought about this all the time. So he was like hiding it from her.
He was always very compliant with it. Never, say, okay, I want to complain. So, I mean, I'd have a disagreement, say, I want you to do that. But he'd always, it was never enough. Drag out, but we would disagree. You know what I mean?
He didn't leave the house
No.
angry and not show up again?
Oh, no.
Nothing like that?
No. I can't think of anything that he's done.
So full of shit, Jen.
Yes, sir.
Due to the,
Yes.
it's going to take a little bit.
Right.
Well, there's over 42,000. And then that's his.
Oh.
So,
You guys, I went through all 44,000 SMS messages. All of that shit. 44,000. You know how much paper I spent on that hoe? She's fucking crazy, man. I love it. 5150. Section 12. Padded rooms. 44,000 text messages. Just the SMSs. SMS is different than, like, I mean, we're not even talking about Marco Polo app. Okay. We're not talking about all her videos that she would make recording herself, talking the gospel and sending it to friends about how great she is. Okay.
well, I want to know if that's because you were mentioning.
No.
Realistically, it may take an hour. Maybe an hour.
Are you okay? Don't take it that way. Don't.
Hey, right. Come in here and say,
It hurts me. Right?
but it hurts and we even advance to being ready to be okay. Say I come back and pick it up. Absolutely. And are you okay, by the way, just while I'm answering the question, you asked for the inpatient forms for these 20 some odd folks.
I'd like everyone each should get their hands on.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Are you up for chain of custody or can I bring it?
Absolutely. Doesn't matter to me.
Chain of custody, they're talking.
Okay, so alcohol we covered. How about illegal drug use? Any history of illegal drug use?
I have never, ever, ever seen, heard, no, he has never had illegal drugs that I'm aware of.
This is completely lies. I found his pill dealer, his steroid dealer. Brian was he was trading off his chiropractic visits for steroids, and then he was keeping track of it in his patient logs. Like fucking idiot, but whatever. He was texting, hey, leave the gear in my car. I left it unlocked, put it underneath my, floor mats and blah, blah, crazy shit. Then the one time his dealer had to tell him, hey, there's a cop like standing like outside of your vehicle. Like I can't drop anything off right now. Found all of these in text messages that were deleted by Brian, but they come up still in the Cellbrite. And so I found all of that. His name is Dean D'Amata. Dean D'Amata lived in the Naples area and was Brian's supplier.
How about you? So this is sort of a weird vein here, but any problems with the kids? Any recent issues with the kids or their friends or anybody that is in your environment that may have a grudge against him because he did something or said something or made somebody feel bad or hurt somebody's feelings or yelled at a kid or
It's like I get along with everybody. Happy. I had to rack my brain over who would be upset at him or us, because I even thought about that at him or us. Closing my blind, should I? You know what I mean? Like it's just I'm thinking until we find the motives, because I even thought about, well, are we safe? Like, should I be closing my blind?
Should I be closing my blinds? Oh my God, what, Jen? You guys hear that? Should I be closing my blinds? She's not supposed to know that the blinds were closed for the murder, right? Oops. Oops, Jen. Oops. Who the hell would ever say, do I need to be closing my blinds? What the hell does that mean, Jen? That's right. The shit this broad would just say. And the cops are seriously just like not catching on to any of this shit. Fuck you, Van Leuven. And you guys, just so you know this, they watch all my shit. Hi. Jen's lawyer loves me. Like, fucking loves me. That little old man.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm thinking, until we find a motive, is it us? Is it my family? So I started thinking through that. Like, who would be upset at our family? And I cannot think of anybody who's upset at our family. I mean, that sounds, I sounds like it's not possible that
Political affiliations. Is he a member of Elks?
KKK.
was a Christian. He did
church?
play
You go to church?
part of the city church in Coeur d'Alene.
Mhm.
He usually often played worship music in the office, or he would play just or whatever. But I know that many, if not all of his patients knew he was a Christian. We had a lot of discussions with people about that.
How long have you been going to part of the city church?
We were in 2012, so 2014, so I'd say 6 years.
How often do you attend church services?
Every year there.
Before he was, murdered, they were getting money from the church. His friends started like a non-said GoFundMe, and like people were writing like $1,000 checks to them. And so Jen started realizing, like, oh my God, we can make so much money, Brian, if you just get surgeries. She made 40 G's off of Brian's back surgery. Lana, how do you know this? Because she accepted PayPal payments. I found her PayPal account, and she lied to the police about this. And she was accepting deposits from all of these other people in all these different churches across the whole entire United States of America. And it was for this insurance program that they were in. And you have to wait a year, though, if you're going to have back surgery before you can like try to get people to pay for your back surgery. The wild shit that Jennifer Drake was up to. She's a super sleuther, too. She follows true crime. And she got scammed on Craigslist once. And I swear the rage that woman felt about that, she was like destined to set. Like, you don't understand. Like, Jennifer's fucking Cellbrite dump is a fucking gold mine. It is absolutely like you could binge that shit for like days. It is so fucking entertaining. The shit that this woman did. The woman couldn't have a full-time job if she wanted one because of the shit that she was into and doing in her life. And it wasn't this holy roller fucking shit. Okay. The shit that Jennifer Drake was up to. Woo, mama. Let's do a documentary, Jed. Come on, it'll be so fun. Come on, we could talk about how Dan Moore fucking murdered your husband. Like, but can we talk about your personal life? Because it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Your kids go to Sunday school and all
Brian plays on the worship team. There, plays guitar.
She played her whole church.
that. So you're plugged into your church.
Very much so.
Anybody at church? Any issues at church?
No.
Anything happen at church, like somebody getting fired or something to cause hate and discontent, even if you don't think it involved your husband at church?
What?
Embezzlement, drugs, infidelity, no scandals, no problems with church.
Is he a dean or belongs to any of the upper?
We are part of leadership.
Dean or belongs to any of the upper?
But, like if there was, I know the church has issues. We don't know all the issues. We don't sit in a staff meetings with every issue. So that would be something J.O. you would talk to J.O. about.
Who's J.O.?
So Jonathan Owens is who you would definitely sit down and talk with.
Jonathan Owen sat down and he had his lawyer present. Pastor. I love it. Let's talk about the fucking nasty shit that you guys were doing with that church. Oh God, fill me up some more tea, baby.
He's the pastor and lead pastor.
Does your husband, is he involved in counseling members of the church or kids in the church?
Yes, my husband and I are marriage counselors.
Okay.
And we speak at seminars. And
You guys, they were marriage counselors. Stop it. You can't make this up. They were marriage counselors? Fucking shit is amazing. A marriage counselor. These two. More fucking problems than any. More trust issues than anyone. Sorry. It's so hard. It's so hard to listen to this shit. Marriage counselors. I'm gonna be my pants.
Talk with each other about, do you counsel together as a team or do you counsel individually?
Well, I counsel individually women, and then we counsel together couples.
At the same time, at the
Yes,
same
we counsel together couples.
time, in the same.
Yes, we don't have counsel, just one of us.
Is there a spouse that may be upset that they blaming him for ending their marriage through counseling?
So we did counsel a couple this late this summer. It was the first time we counseled them. She's a strong Christian, and not so much. It was the very first session. And the next day, she broke off their engagement. Of course, we knew it wasn't our fault. It was-
Wait, what? Wait, what did I miss?
What
She had doubts often because he was not a really.
And Jen, you guys fucking did couples counseling for one person? One couple, and on the first time they broke up. Hold on a second. This is fucking amazing. Oh my god, this is gonna be the best documentary ever. Jennifer, happy hour, baby. Let's do it. Jen, it's cool. Listen, we're gonna make the best documentary. We've already talked about it, okay? We both know that we have dreams about each other. So we're gonna do this doc together. It's gonna be amazing. But can we please talk about this? Who the fuck were you counseling?
is there a spouse that may be upset that they be blaming him for ending their marriage through counseling?
Oh god. Oh, don't worry, I have video. If you guys don't worry, you need to join me for Friday night and Sunday night. The video, I have her in a deposition, and it's video and audio. It's the most amazing shit I've ever seen in my life. I watch it like it's a lifetime. I'm watching a Lifetime original. Okay, let's go back. Hold on. Jen, tell us about this. What happened, girl?
So, this late summer, it was the first time I counseled them.
Okay.
She's a strong Christian, and not so much.
Okay.
It was the very first session,
Mm-hmm. Happens.
and the next day, she broke off their engagement.
The next day she broke up their engagement. We are the best counselors.
Of course, we knew it wasn't our fault.
Amazing.
Doubts and stuff before that, but I think it kind of is.
Why did she break up the engagement?
She had doubts often because he was not a really big spiritual leader, and she needed somebody to be much more of a leader.
Mm.
They ended. He moved, and they actually started dating again, got back together, and then they ended. And he's moved. She's now moved to Chicago.
Oh.
And he has moved somewhere on the East Coast.
Well, thank God.
His name is
She doesn't remember any names.
Um,
I only met them once.
Jesse Little.
I only met them once, and you're fucking counseling them? Get the fuck out of here. She's lying about that, because guess what? You guys, when I found out the name of who this person was that she talks about, this is her boss's daughter. This is her boss's daughter. Because, okay, listen, Jen really didn't ever have a job, okay? But she helped out at the Little Theater, it's called. Laura Little Theatricals, okay? Oh my God. When I found out that this was Laura Little's daughter, she fucking hates Laura Little. Oh my God, this vindictive bitch. I guarantee you. Oh God, I can only imagine. Holy shit. I'm listening to this. I'm like, Jesse Little. I'm like, oh my God. Laura Little was her boss. That's when she got scammed through Craigslist. God, I cannot wait to show you guys that. Her getting scammed through Craigslist is priceless. I can't. Oh, fuck, Jen. Jen, is any of this true? I don't even know if I can believe you, but it's such a good story, though. Like, you counseled somebody one time and they just fucking broke off their engagement. That's some fucking incredible shit. Hell yeah. Kudos, baby girl.
Her name is Jesse Little. The other one that I gave you his name.
Jesse,
Jesse, yes.
Mhm.
And Little, or Little's daughter.
is her telephone number going to be in your phone?
So
Laura Little's daughter.
and so this.
Do you remember his name off the top of your head?
If I had my phone, I could tell you.
I'll get that back to you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So what was the nature of the disagreement that you guys talked about? Was it just that he didn't want
We got
to
along
commit
great.
spiritually?
No, our counseling session went great. Even when we left, we loved him. He was very genial.
So did Brian talk to him individually?
No. I think he texted him once just to say, praying for you, happy for you, et cetera, but
At any time did he express to you or to Brian or to somebody else that got back to you that he was mad at Brian for some reason?
no. And I even asked Jesse, I'm like, does he think this is our fault? Because, we've laid down some things that were pretty important, and we knew going into this counseling session where the problems lie and where she was struggling. So we, tried to really talk through some of those. And I think talking through them reinforced to her the problem and that she didn't have peace with it and was going to. And so Jesse always told us this, no, this was not you at all. This was just, our counseling was her last ditch effort to try to make it work. And she realized in that counseling session, I don't think this is going to work.
Is there abuse involved? Was there
No.
abuse?
No, not at all. He was very nice, but he really didn't. He was actually supposed to give my son some voice lessons. And I think that, and I can't promise whether Brian texted him afterwards, but we never heard from him, which I did think was kind of odd because he seemed pretty professional and, just a genuine good guy. I would have thought, hey, thanks.
How old? Approximately.
They never interviewed this guy. Van Leuven, like, Jennifer tells you about this, and you don't even call the motherfucker up to say, hey, can we talk? Did you?
What do you do for work?
He was active.
An act-
Yeah, what does your husband, did he coach baseball, football, soccer, church?
Before we move away from church, does he counsel kids at church?
No.
He doesn't counsel kids.
No.
No, you can't
Hear that quick no?
go back to sports.
Yes.
Yes.
So he used to coach soccer for many years. He hasn't for the last, I'd say 2 to 3 years. He's
What?
been too busy.
Why not? Busy?
He has
Hmm.
coached soccer when we see the
That's location.
He's been too busy. Busy doing what, Jen? Eh.
from 4 years old all the way up to 15, 14.
Any problems there?
No, he was a great coach. We've never had any parent upsets. It was just city league, so it wasn't like it was that intense. Yeah.
No other sports like?
No. Everything else.
So proximity, both proximity, work out at the proximity, anything there?
The only thing, and I think I told Ken this, I don't think I told this to Mike, but I'm sure you guys have already crossed this,
Ken.
is that he was very regular to my.
Ken is a detective. Okay. When I realized that she's calling these people by their first names, and then she just met in person for the first time, Mike Van Leuven. She just said, I don't know if I've told Mike this, and she calls him Ken. Okay. Ken, there's actually body camera that I'm going to get and I'm putting out there. It's Jennifer Drake's interview. Actually, the night of the murder that they tried to say that never took place. Lana found it. Lana told Jill Bolton about it and said, you need to go get this body worn camera because that's really, really important. And I believe they might have some dash cam too. You might want to go hop on that. But she talked to Ken, and the stuff that that was actually her first time ever talking to a law enforcement person, like face to face. And that was the night of the murder. they sent somebody to her house. She was MIA missing for like hours before that. Ken shows up at like, I don't know, 11:30 at night. Very interesting stuff, huh? Like, what were you off to doing, Jen?
Mixed Jim up in Montessori. So if he was not on the phone with me or eating or cleaning up, he would go to Mike's gym often, and he had a key for that office for 24/7. And he always liked to wait until the masses had left. So he would go to work out at like 9 at night.
That's not true. Not true at all. Maybe he told you that, Jen, but that's not true at all. But he didn't tell her that either. There's no text messages that say, I'm going to the gym, honey. Okay. She's saying this to the police because how she's playing this off is she needs to make it seem like she had no idea anything that Brian was doing. Okay. Because then that gives it motive. She just is playing this whole little naive fucking bullshit. Well, the phone tells you that she knew everything.
This is very, very regular. And I know that they have cameras all over there. So if there was anything that happened, I always sent him with dinner. He
Lies.
never went out to eat because everything closes down so early anyway.
Lies. This is all lies. I found this case because of the Idaho 4 case, because I started Googling the names of these investigators that were doing the Idaho 4 case, and I came across that they were being sued for coercion in the Moore case.
The time was done. So he would either go to Super One to get food. But the only other place he ever went to regularly was that gym. And of course, there's
Lies.
a lot of testosterone in that gym.
Mike's gym.
Mike's gym, it's up on that south part of Farmers Ferry. You want to talk about the highway that takes you over to Troy Libby? Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing this with a broken back and a broken leg. Huh, Jen? He's just going to the gym. Sit and spin.
North.
Yeah. Yeah.
Short of the gas station.
Yes, right where the gas station, right.
Okay.
But Mike would be another good person for you to talk to.
What's
He's-
Mike's last?
I don't remember, but he's the owner of the gym, and he is a patient of Brian's, and Brian sees him and his wife. Big, like the Rock. I mean, it's this. So you wouldn't miss him. He's the rest of the night. Then exactly what you're
So they were trading. He could go to the gym
talking about.
and he'd work.
We give him that. And he just had a key fob that he could go in and
Where is that? Where is that located? Why didn't these detectives go and find that? And why didn't they go and ask for a log to see when Brian would go in and out of that place? Why not? Huh? The fucking lies, man.
No membership in any clubs. No groups you guys associate with.
the church and the crop.
Church and
Children. States out of it.
money issues. Did you guys have? Did you have any money issues that is that an issue at all for you guys?
Well, we lived month to month for the most part. We had saved up.
What chiropractor, doctor lives month to month? Let that sit in for a minute. What? We live month to month? Excuse me? What doctor lives month to month?
We were doing
They had no savings, none. She didn't work. She was just like trolling. Literally like, and she's just spending money on stupid shit. But right before this murder happened, not too long before it, she goes and purchases all new vehicles for the family. Why? I don't know.
really well until we had a back surgery. But work's been very good. We've always been able to pay our bill.
She's so full of shit. They were Airbnb their home for money, and they would go camping on the weekends. She had her kids sleeping on the floor of her friend's house. This is insanity.
First, we saved up. We were doing really well until he had a back surgery and that kind of all we're taught. But that's been very good. We've always been able to pay our bills. We have more than we need, no less than we need.
Do you work?
No,
Do you
I
work
did.
part-time?
I worked for Laura Little for about half a year, and that's Jesse Little's mom. Laura Little owns Little Theatricals, Laura Little Theatricals.
I did a deep dive into Laura Little theatricals. I was this close to calling Laura Little and letting her know that Jennifer Drake didn't do shit while working for her. And that in fact, she was just getting scammed left and right on fucking Craigslist. And if she wants the proof, I'll be happy to supply it for her. Okay. Yeah.
No. And it was just me and for the ladies.
And what did you do for them?
I just did lots of administrative. I would help her sets. I would help her. She was actually putting on a show off Broadway that I helped her put together that was so we did a lot of stuff with New York.
Jen, this was like years ago before the murder. Like this wasn't like just right. I cannot believe the shit that she's saying. Let me tell you what she was so great about. She tried to rent. This is how cheap she is. This is how she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. She got on Craigslist and was trying to put her talent up in these fake apartments that they were renting these for like pennies. And what is Jen doing? Jen's supposedly paying. And it's like, here, yeah, pay us. You know how they do like these scams with you, and she's getting scammed. Okay. Well, do you think that she's telling Laura Little about this? No. She had people showing up to places that they didn't have any housing. Dude, she's a fucking no idea what this fucking woman's truly up to. No clue. I don't know if she was for all I know, she could have been scamming Laura Little. Okay. And actually making all this stuff up with like Craigslist. Who knows? The woman's off her fucking rocker. But this was like years before the murder. That girl hadn't received a paycheck from anybody in fucking forever, except with the exception that she doesn't tell the police that she's Airbnb her house to literally make money. As Carson said it, they were fucking dead broke.
Anything that needs to be done with the actors, whatever that entails.
What is the name of her company?
Laura Little Theatricals.
What is the name of her company?
Laura Little Theatricals.
What is the name of her company?
Laura Little Theatricals.
What is the name of her company?
Laura Little Theatricals.
Where was that out of?
That is out of Expressions in Post Falls. The Expressions office in Post Falls. Where she's still there.
What is Expressions?
Expressions, the dance studio. So it's on Highway 41, south of Vaughan. You see it on our website. As we ride
The west side of it.
on the west side of it,
So newer structure.
it's big brown right next to that big housing development.
It's like a cutout of a dancer on the outside of the building.
Yes.
Okay. Gambling issues.
No. This was never gambled. Let's see what Vegas did well. Never gambled very much.
You tried to fuck a girl in Vegas.
Other friends locally in the church that we should talk to?
What reason are you
someone that he may have confided into something that would pertain to his death? Just people, some close friend that you might have told them that you don't know about.
Yeah, I can tell you, Spencer Van Lane is who he spent the evening with the night before.
Spencer who?
Van Lane,
P-A-N.
L-I-N-G. And,
How do you see no Spencer?
Amber is the one who works at the church. Spencer is her husband. And we are just all very close friends. Spencer is part of our Bible study group. And they are just human spirits.
They're just really kindred spirits. The fuck? This is Tina with What the Fuck Transition Services. What the fuck are you talking about, Jen? Tell them the truth about Amber. Tell them the truth about how you lied to Amber and Spencer on the day of the murder. Why is Amber's number down as Jen's home phone number on the paperwork for the police? Why are you in a vehicle with Amber at a time frame that seems like it's way, I don't know, doesn't make any sense? Why does Spencer have the wrong time for all of this going down? How about all of that type of shit? So yeah, let's just talk to Spencer. Let's talk to Amber. Amber has never been fucking interviewed to this day. And Amber is who Jennifer Drake was in a car with, heading to Bonner's Ferry, and who she was with, supposedly, Jennifer Drake gets this call. She's talking to her husband. He's shot and blah, blah, blah. And then she's over here blowing up Amber. Don't you think the cops would want to talk to Amber? Why would we do something like that?
The other one that I would definitely talk to would be Dan Rodewald.
Can you spell that for me?
R-H, or just R-O-D-E-W-A-L-D.
Dan was on the life flight team that day.
Why Dan?
He plays bass guitar, so they would actually make music together. Like,
What instrument did your husband play?
guitar.
He never talked to these people.
He plays the-
She's so full of shit.
They played together.
And the other one that we played with was his third best friend in town, was Joshua Sprague. He was their best friend in
He was calling for the life insurance policy money, wasn't he? In fact, wasn't he the person that brokered the deal? You should look into that.
It was 4 men together. Did everything together.
Those 4 men did everything together. These people have to be rolling right now. If you're one of these 4 people and you're listening to this, you know that this is a fucking lie. You know that this is a lie. Y'all saw each other at fucking church on Sunday, and that was it. Maybe occasionally when Jennifer had to put on like a little like, hey, we got to act, and hey, we'll have you guys over for Bible study. It was like a swingers group. Let's be real. Let's talk about Tatiana. Talk about her. Let's talk about Tatiana's tits. Let's talk about how Tatiana bought you lingerie. Okay? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your text messages with Tatiana. Can we talk about her? Meow.
You emphasize the word men. Are there women that know him too that you should talk to or no?
He just didn't hang with women.
Are there women that we should talk to? No, he just didn't hang with women. I'm dead. Dude, she is absolutely give this woman a Jen. We are totally gonna win the Slam Dance Film Festival. Our documentary is going to net us top 1 Netflix downloads. Okay, and if it doesn't, I'm blaming you. All right, because if you don't let us talk about all this crazy shit, all right, this is what's gonna sell. God damn it.
What types of activities would you do with these 3 besides music? Anything?
He go over to dance and do music. Josh has some new music. A lot of times Josh will go to Starbucks and literally sit and listen to music. The only other thing, like the night before, every once in a while we would go down.
Never.
We live in town. What's the place right down the way
Caddyshack.
from our house? Right off the prairie. What's the golf place?
How does he know where the fuck you live, Jen? Right down the street from our house. Like, how does he know where you live, Jen? Oh, but here's Van Leuven. Caddyshack. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they never did that ever any time before that. I went through Brian's entire cell right. Remember, like the PO, like his life patterns. Remember, Jen? Yeah. Tell me when he was at Caddyshack before that. Fucking ridiculous. She set that up too. It was Jen's idea. Jen set that up to have Spencer come and pick up Brian. And guess what you did, Jen? Is that when you were going through his phone, or did you do that before that? And it was like, what? Were you having like a? Was it for him to have like a farewell to hang out with his friend before he died? That's what it looks like to me.
Spencer and Joshua and Brian, and I know he told me they had a really good talk. So they just sat there and talked about their women.
They just sat there and talked about their women. Because that's what guys do. But guys, how she's trying to come across to these police officers is like she's this like naive fucking holy roller. Anything but, though. Anything but. Her dad's like a pastor. Her sister threw her under the bus. Her sister told the truth. Emily told the truth.
Did you have a life insurance policy on your husband? How much is it for?
It was for $1 million.
It is for $1 million. Did you have a life insurance policy on your husband? Yes. How much was it for? $1 million.
4 million?
He said 4 million. She said 1 million.
And when was that taken out?
2016.
Who's
2016.
that?
Mutual Bonus.
Mutual of Omaha.
Both of ours each at the same way.
No, it was Jen's. It was Jen's, and she caused a big fight about it. It's all in the texts. Also, it was at the end of the year in 2016, so basically just say 2017. Okay? Motherfucker's dead right in 2020. Jen. Girl? Why didn't you get a life insurance policy on you? How come only Brian? What'd you guys pay? I think it was $98 a month coming out of that account. $88 a month coming out of that account every month. Your girl's got you. Don't worry. I can just rip my brain. I have a photographic memory, Jen.
So we just finally decided together we would do it.
Did you get one for you too?
No, I didn't work, and he lost me. It wasn't worth anything. I know that's not true.
Look at this little fucking. She was trying to give the performance of a lifetime. This is why she went to trial so bad. She won. She's like, I cannot believe that everyone keeps robbing me of my goddamn day. Like, I want to be on the stand. I want to be on the stand. What's up, Jay Brew? Oh, you'll love Jen. You need to hear all about Jen. You guys, she didn't have a life insurance policy on her, but she had one on him. And her reasoning that she tells the police is because I'm just not like, I don't have a job. I'm not worth anything. Bitch, what? Who's going to take care of the kids? Who's going to fucking take them to school and shit? Okay. Unbelievable. This woman's just unbelievable. But wouldn't that have any, like, I don't know, officer, like detective being like, wait, what?
He was a lot more valuable than I really, in the scheme of making sure that our kids were okay.
Yeah, they said that his death was with 15 million. The fuck out of here. $15 million, huh? Wow. Wow, that's a lot of money to be awarded and not have a criminal trial and no evidence come through. $15 million, huh, Idaho? How much money has she gotten out of the 15 mil? How much?
It's a lot more valuable than I really, in the scheme of making sure that our kids were okay.
What's up? What's up?
Well, emotionally, that's true. I just, you know,
So I have a policy on my life. It'd be very expensive to replace her.
well, it's amazing actually that we even have one, because we went without one forever, as we just thought we don't need one. It wasn't until Josh just kept saying you need to get one.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to get one. Jen, do you have one now? What about your kids now? What if you died? It has nothing to do about your husband or the wife. You have a family of 4 people. In this family, her mom just sitting in there listening to this shit. Brian's brother listening to this shit. Brian's in his grave rolling.
Let's keep all the receipts. Okay, go for now.
Then I'm gonna give you the money.
Yeah.
But I need you to sign a receipt, so I'll have one there. And then everything else we're gonna duplicate, and then we'll get back to you. And then everything else we're gonna, okay. I'll have a receipt.
If you need anything, just call me. Everything is very easy to copy for you.
Yeah, none of that stuff is something that we go from, I just know that we just dealt with his license, and I just make sure that's not something that's very sensitive. It's just,
I have no idea what's in this envelope.
oh, I need to pick up some bill, that needs to be paid.
If you want to go, if you want
That was the check. That was the rent check that didn't get turned in, because they pay on time all the time.
to go through this and see what there is, and if there's things you need, then you can make copies of them.
Okay.
And after we go through everything, potentially give it back to you.
Well, I know it's in here, so it,
Go ahead, open it.
I should, it's just a check for his sampling office.
It hasn't got to be US mail.
Yeah. I'm the one who wrote it. It's the check that goes for his rent. It needs to be dropped off the sample.
They use a personal check for a business expense. Let that sink in. What type of fucking shit's going on around here?
Make a copy of it and check. Do you want to go through, is this the book you're interested in as far as current activity?
Yes, that's the stuff that, like, if he's needing me, I just do all the business side of it.
Why don't you
So
go,
all his business stuff is in this.
why don't you go through that and see if there's anything you need copies of, and we can make those for you right now.
That'd be great.
This is what she would do. She would text him and say, Brian, I need you to go and deposit those checks that you're getting from people, or like, your cash, and you have to go deposit this cash in. And then I need you to transfer money over from, because it's all like joint accounts and blah, blah, blah. And so, and then she would just like do it herself to like take money from the account and put it into like their house account. Well, then all of a sudden I saw all these direct deposits of just straight cash going into her account. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? The money was never like this. It was in weird ways. And like, so I did a deep dive and I followed all the money, and I realized that, oh my God, they made 40 G's in cash off of Brian saying that he had back surgery, because they got all this money from all these people that were in the Christian, I don't know, whatever they call it. Like, they didn't have insurance. They were with the church, and like the church basically, everybody pays a little bit when something happens to somebody, and that's their insurance. And so the way that you can sign up for this is you give people your PayPal, and they just PayPal you the money, and you just get sent all these deposits from like all these fucking random people. And so I was like, why the fuck is she getting the same amount in deposits? Like every day there's like 7 people that are sending like $580, times that by 7. And then the next day, 10 people sending $580, and then $630, 9 people the next day. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Well, I figured it out. I fucking said, I'll call one of you motherfuckers up. I would say, why are you sending somebody money in PayPal? I didn't have to do that though, because I found an email that Jennifer Drake had wrote. But I swear that this is fraud. Because then this is the weird thing, is that you're supposed to take that money, okay? And you're supposed to pay the bill. She was able to get the ambulance bill taken care of. There was just all this shit that, like, and then when she says in this interview, she's like, I didn't realize when someone dies, you still have all these bills. Okay. She's talking about the fact that I'm like, wait, what do you mean all these bills, bitch? You got paid all the money and you're not supposed to be living off of that money. There's a big rule about that. That's a big no-no. Well, her financials prove it. Also, what it proves is that she got a ton of cash right before the hit was put out on her husband. You want to talk about paying for a hit? Wow. Look at all the money that just got deposited into your account in the months of November, December, January, or actually it was like December, January, February, and in March. All the money that went into your account. What did it go to? Show me that it went and paid for medical bills. Show me some fat ass check that was cut for his back surgery. Sounds like a fat fucking cash hit deposit. Tell you that. Brian is probably relieved and celebrating that he don't have to go home to that evil anymore. He's something, right?
So these are all things that have to do with patients' insurance. I mean, eventually they're going to need to be dealt with just because they're waiting for their policy and stuff.
I could make copies of those and we can give you the originals.
Okay,
We have a box full of documents here.
Okay, this is a lie. This is a lie. Brian didn't take insurance. He was not, you don't pay insurance for him. Like, you cannot go and bill insurance. All right? You understand that? He's a cash only business. Whether you pay in a card, okay, you cannot come to him and say, here, can you bill my insurance company? No, he doesn't do that. So what is she talking about? Ready? Let's listen.
waiting for their policy. These are so these are all things that have to do with patients' insurance. I mean, eventually they're going to need to be dealt with just because they're waiting for their policy and stuff.
I could make copies of those and we can give you the originals.
Okay,
We have a box full of documents here that came, some on his desk, some from his desk, some from containers under his desk.
yeah.
I mean, so I don't know what.
Somebody took 2 very important sheets off his desk. And let me tell you how good we are over here. I was able to take the crime scene photos because they were such good quality. And I was able to identify what items, pieces of paper that were taken off the desk because he had his little binder out. And there was 2 very important pieces of paper. The first one was Aldora Gatchell's Chart 3 that you can find nowhere in Discovery. But I found it because it's laying on top of his desk because it was his last patient and her chart's laying right there. It's a big blue piece of paper. It's cardstock. And I was able to zoom in and see all the different dates and how he would track stuff. And it's evidence that Aldora's brother that claims that he got adjusted, that never happened. Brian never put his name down. Brian did not start a new patient blue sheet. That fucking sheet was stolen. And it needed to be. But thank God I got my hands on that discovery and I went through every single picture in the discovery of of the crime scene and scoured all the pictures that had at the desk, and I found them. And I said, this is missing. This is missing. Somebody stole these. It's Aldora Gatchel's, and it proves. And so when you zoom in, it's like, where is this at? And so the only people that could have taken it is if it's Jennifer Drake, somebody at that crime scene, because they told them, because remember the pictures were taken the next day, Jennifer Drake or the police. But thank God they did it after the pictures were taken, though. These fucking pieces of shit. And so I have the picture that shows, hey, where is this at? Where's Aldora Gatchel's, the way that Brian would start his new cards? It was number 3. Number 1 and number 2 are in discovery, but not number 3. Then he had his log open, which was his schedule for each day. And there was like 5 columns because each page, it was for the week. And nowhere on that page at the end of the day, it says Aldora Gatchel for the last patient. He would always write in, because he's like, you know, the expression, like people are like Jews when it comes to their money. That's how Brian was. And so there was no way in hell, if he's servicing Aldora Gatchel's brother, the name would go on there and he would have charged Aldora Gatchel from her, you know, hey, you have a package of 5, you know, someone's paying for this. That's how he rolls. There's no freebies here with Brian Drake, unless you're trading stuff out. But 2 things happen here. Brian Drake did not create a new patient intake form for him. This is how I know that this was never designed this way. And them saying that Caleb Coco and Azara, Aldora Gatchel's brother, saw him, the fuck he did. Brian Drake never put his name down. Brian Drake never took money from him. And he did not charge Aldora Gatchel for 2 visits. So y'all can get fucked. Jen says that it was Aldora's husband that was there. That's what Aldora Gatchel says. What? Get your story straight, bitches. No. Well, if Aldora Gatchel's husband was there as well, okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because guess who I know's there is her niece that Aldora Gatchel said she picked up from the airport, and that she wasn't feeling well, so she didn't come to the appointment. But guess what Paul Jacobson said? When he was leaving and he got out to the, this is what he told the police in his interview. Oh yeah, when I left, I get outside and I'm walking to my truck and an SUV rolls in, and it was a girl that was driving. It looked like it could be the daughter of the girl that was inside. Another, you know, Hawaiian woman. Sure as shit, Aldora Gatchel lies. Okay, her niece was there. They had a different SUV. I find it in the surveillance videos. So I'm able to prove what Paul Jacobson said is true. I have this Explorer that's like the late 90s, 2-tone, like Eddie Bauer edition Explorer. We all know what that is, like that green one with like the 2, like the tan bottom. Sure as shit, find that, proving what Paul Jacobson said was true. The police do none of this work. Okay. And so now we have Aldora Gatchel there at that place with her brother, because I'm going to show you guys a video that they recorded as like a proof of like life. And then here, and then, so they have him. Then we have the niece. So we have 2 vehicles there. Aldora Gatchel's in a Pilot. And then we have a second SUV with the girl that was driving, the niece that was driving the SUV, which was the Eddie Bauer Explorer type thing. Nobody knew this. Nobody knew that Aldora Gatchel and her family had 2 fucking vehicles there. Across the street, the eyewitness, Isaac Funderburg, said that he saw a green, older SUV sitting and waiting in the parking lot. Can't make this shit up. And then Isaac Funderburg's description of the shooter, he was dark-skinned. He was wearing all black with a gray vest. He had a beanie on, and he had facial hair. That's pretty descriptive, right? He said, yeah, he looked like he could be the guy that worked at, like, you know, the gas station, you know? And let me show you what the video is that here you go. This is the video. Let me get to it. Here you go. Here's the video that Eldora took that she sent Jennifer Drake. Here it is. Oopsies. Okay. This is recorded right before his death. Eldora Gatchel records this. Okay. And Jennifer Drake posts this video, but guess what she does? She purposely puts a block over the brother in what he's wearing because it is literally the description to a T of the eyewitness, Isaac Funderburg, when he hears the gunshots. He looks out and he sees a guy walking back from behind and then starts running back from behind Dr. Drake's place of business here. And he gives this description. Dark complected skin. He was wearing black, hoodie, sweat outfit, and a gray vest, a beanie, and facial motherfucking hair. Does that sound like Dr. Moore, who is white as fucking 60? How would Isaac Funderburg be able to even say this? And he says it the night of the scene, or the night of the shooting at the scene. And stupid fucking Eldora Gatchel video recorded and put her brother in it. Otherwise, if this didn't exist, I would have no idea what Caleb Cohen-Nazar was wearing that night. Well, guess what? They took this video, and I believe it was, I would love to know who it was sent to, but it was almost like it was like to show like a proof of life thing. Like, here, we were there, and he was alive when we were there, and we saw him. Yeah, and then what'd y'all motherfuckers do? So it comes down to, what were the Drakes and the Gatchels all involved with the police with in that town? Brian's phone would ring back-to-back times by an unlisted number. I was able to pull it off of the cell tower dumps. Nobody thought this girl would ever come around and fucking take this discovery and destroy it. And the person that was calling Brian Drake's phone at like 7:46 and 7:47, right after the 7:44 call that Jennifer Drake got from the sheriff saying, hey, what's his fucking cell phone number? Because they couldn't find his phone. Because this motherfucker, Brian Drake, was drugged the fuck out. They either went out back together and he was able to walk, or they drug him out and they pushed him up against the out back there was like it was like a shed. Brian Drake's, when he was found dead on that floor, his whole entire back sweater, this black sweater, was covered in debris. Okay, debris. It had leaves, vegetation, soil, and then it had little itty bitty, looked like it could be like splinters. And then you take the pictures from the crime scene when they were outside. That shed door is totally ripped off the hinges and off to the side. It's like somebody takes you and checks you up against it. And that's exactly what they did to this man. He also had a couple little marks on his nose and in his mouth. This motherfucker was not shot through the window. Okay. And this all began way earlier. Okay. And guess what? The shots that he heard, that Isaac Funderburg heard, he then gets in his car. He goes to the fucking grocery store first. After leaving the grocery store, comes back, then drives across and over that area to take like another loop around back there, and then decides to call the police. He doesn't call the police right away. He tells them this. So, which is super, super huge. Guess what? We have somebody else called in 911 as well. There's actually another person that called, and they are burying that information. How it came out is because Willie Cowell ends up telling Jennifer Drake that it wasn't just Jen, there wasn't just one person that called before you did. It was two. The reason that Jennifer Drake didn't call right away is because this was all staged. Okay. And it wasn't that call at 7:44. There was a call before that. And it was like, you need to call in 911 because there's already been a call. There's a bunch of shit that was going on. And who the hell gets their ass kicked in 3 weeks before they get murdered? Sounds like somebody that owes some money. Sounds like somebody that's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm going to give you a chance here. And maybe they came to collect today. Anyways, Eldora Gatchel tells on herself. Jennifer Drake tells on herself. And the police here, what are they doing? Well, the Boundary County Sheriff's Office is involved. And so is, at the time, Assistant Police Chief Marty Ryan. And Idaho State Police covered it up. Peace out. See you on the next one. Checkmate, bitches. Let's dance. Let's play.